The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time is a-wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
A manhunt continues for a cop killer in Tennessee.
A Dixon County Sheriff's deputy was found shot dead in his patrol car Wednesday after responding to a report of a suspicious vehicle. The suspect, identified as 31-year-old Stephen Joshua Wiggins, is believed to be armed and dangerous.
Our heart's broken. We're driven right now with a focus and a resolve to make sure that this person's captured.
Sheriff Jeff Bledsoe urging Wiggins to give himself up.
Because we're not going to rest and we're not going to leave anything unturned until he's brought in for justice.
On Tuesday, Wiggins was charged with assaulting a woman and stealing her car. Steve Rappaport, Fox News.
ISIS now claiming the man behind an attack in the Belgian city of Liège was a soldier of the caliphate, responding to calls from the militant group to target countries that are members of the international coalition fighting ISIS. The attacker was a prison inmate on a 2-day furlough when he stabbed and shot 2 police women to death yesterday, also killing an aspiring teacher before he was killed. New guidelines being recommended on what age to begin screening for colon cancer.
New advice from the American Cancer Society on the age American adults should start being screened for colon cancer. The recommendation used to be age 50. Now the age to start is being lowered to 45. Cancer Society officials acknowledged the shift could cause confusion, but felt strongly they needed to act now. Colorectal cancer is the 3rd leading cause of cancer-related deaths in men and women in the United States, and the rates of colon cancer and deaths in people younger than 50 from the disease has been steadily on the rise by as much as 50%. Experts aren't sure why. Derek Dennis, Fox News.
Again, on Wall Street, the Dow snapping a 4-day losing streak, finishing up 306 points at 24,667. The S&P and the NASDAQ also rallying. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
I'm a working mom and could really use more hours in my day. Thankfully, my non-electric Connecticut water treatment system has simplified my life. It's easier to clean my home with Connecticut conditioned water. No more scrubbing tubs or wiping water spots. Cleaners work better and last longer. And all the Connecticut drinking water we want is right here. No more lugging home bottled water. All this, and I'm saving money too, thanks to Connecticut.
American Water Tech. Smarter water. Better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email info@americanwatertech.com.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for 0 money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There are so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Thursday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Doris Brooks is resigning from her position as elected public auditor to run for the island's lone seat in the U.S. Congress as a Republican. At a news conference yesterday afternoon, Brooks said that with her knowledge and expertise of Guam's finances, she feels she can better articulate Guam's problems before Congress. She said one of her priorities would be to focus on getting federal reimbursement for GovGuam's payment of the Earned Income Tax Credit, which Guam taxpayers now must pay. Brooks said her resignation becomes effective on June 8th. GEC Executive Director Maria Pangilinan, meanwhile, said she's seeking legal advice on whether a public auditor's race can be included on the August primary ballot. Guam election law states that when more than 6 months remain in a public auditor's term, a special election must be held no more than 90 days after such vacancy occurs. Meanwhile, in reaction to the Brooks announcement, her rivals in the Democratic camp have issued statements welcoming her to the race. Incumbent Delegate Madeline Bordallo pointing out in her written statement that Brooks would leave her term as public auditor unfinished, while Bordallo said she would continue to fulfill her commitment to Guam and fight for the island's issues at every level of the federal government. And Senator Michael San Nicolas, who is challenging Bordallo in the Democratic primary, wrote that Guam is grateful for the 16 and 18 years of service that both of these fine women have given to Guam, but this is a season of change, he said, and it's time for a new frontier. We'll have more news after this.
Chili's Smokehouse menu just got tastier with their new smoked honey chipotle short ribs, marinated and smoked for hours. Try the smoked honey chipotle short ribs and chicken combo, or enjoy the family combo with mouth-watering honey chipotle short ribs, Texas-sized baby back ribs, crispy chicken, and juicy barbecue chicken served with home-style French fries and corn on the cob. It's the Chili's Smokehouse menu, now with smoked honey chipotle short ribs, available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
10 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. The Guam Department of Education has submitted its official request to the U.S. Department of Education to remove the Guam school system's high-risk status for the use of federal education funds. Guam DOE has been considered a high-risk recipient for the past 15 years. In his Tuesday letter to U.S. DOE, Superintendent John Fernandez asked that the constraints and requirements imposed by the feds in excess of what is required from other states now be removed. Fernandez wrote that Guam DOE has made sufficient progress to have the high-risk status removed, along with the third-party fiduciary who has overseen Guam DOE finances for years and cost millions of dollars. Fernandez cited Guam DOE's success in implementing a new financial management system and the development of standard operating procedures to improve financial management. He asked U.S. DOE to approve a transition plan to wean Guam DOE off of the third-party fiduciary's oversight. 36-year-old James Figuer, who was already on felony release, was charged in Superior Court again yesterday on allegations that he assaulted one woman and violated a restraining order issued to protect another woman. According to the magistrate's complaint, Figueroa went to a home in search of the woman who had a restraining order against him, where he allegedly punched and kicked another woman until she fell to the ground. He then went to the back of the home and set a backhoe on fire. Figueroa was charged with terrorizing, arson, family violence, and violating a court order. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post, and we'll give Ray a moment to find the weather. Here it is.
No, it's not. I had it here just a second ago.
How about sunny?
Isn't it
partly cloudy?
No, Facebook says it's going to start raining.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what it said.
That'll be this weekend, yeah. Partly cloudy with isolated showers, highs around 88. No heat index today because the moisture is not as much moisture in the atmosphere right now. But yeah, that trough's going to be moving through this weekend, bring a little rain.
There we go.
Well, I wrote it for him, so I should know it.
What time is sunset?
6:44.
Okay, what time was sunrise this morning?
5:52.
All right, maybe another printout because I have literally no. I took it and I wrote and put it right over there, and now the thing is gone. And
I think I deleted the file.
Are you sure it's not Monday?
Boy, I don't even know what day it is anymore.
It's close to the weekend.
I didn't get a Monday, so this must be my punishment for it. All right, yeah, so that sounds like news and weather together here on The Point, brought to you by Bank Pacific, where some put branches, others, no wait, where some put branches, they place roots.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
Yeah, I think I might be able to make it through this. King's Restaurant serving local lunch favorites Monday through Friday. Today is Thursday. It's Meatloaf Thursday. Tomorrow, beef tenactacker. Choose the pick 2 or pick 3 combos. It's lunch waiting for you now at King's.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. My name is Alicia Blas from Agate, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Putehi Igumamu. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
I really can't find it. I don't know where it went. Security Title brings you portions of the program as well, providing solutions for complex real estate transactions.
Circle K has just made it easier to select products that are better for you and your healthier lifestyle. When looking for items that are low carb, low sodium, low calories, low sugar, high in antioxidants, or high in protein, just look for the easy to spot better for you labels so you can find these items at a glance. Come by and see for yourself. It has never been more convenient to fill up on anything and everything that are better for you. Circle K. Take it easy.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
I honestly don't know how I'm going to recover from that. I'm flummoxed here. First time in all these years. It's crazy, I tell you.
I'd expect that it's in the commercial copy pile.
I just looked in the commercial copy pile. It's not there. The problem is there's other piles that we've got here in the studio that I've got to pour through and get through. You got news scripts and papers from all over the place and printouts from the Guam Election Commission with elections going back years, and I'll explain why we're going to do that here in just a second. But first, literally, welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. I'll clean it up before 10 o'clock. I promise to get all of the stuff off the tables as we go methodically through all of the big stories today. And all the big stories you get to hear about with Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post. Top story, and I'm not going to gloat. There will not be any gloating here in the broadcast studios of The Point 93.3, but over the last couple of days, and I'm not going to say that it just bubbled up in my head. There was some intel working on the street about Doris Brooks resigning her position as the public auditor of Guam and deciding to throw her hat into the ring for the race for Congress.
You called it.
Well, somebody, as I said, there was some rumors floating around, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to see what I can squeeze out on this by just talking about it on the radio as a possibility, and then the online poll, and then I got a note from somebody yesterday that said, "Don't take a nap today," and I said, "Really? Why don't take a nap today?" And this person said, because there's going to be a press conference, and there's going to be a special announcement at the press conference over at the public auditor's place, and bada bing, bada bang, bada boom, that's it. That's the big story. Doris Brooks has resigned her position as the public auditor and will be running against Congresswoman Madeline Z. Berdallo for the congressional race.
And Senator Mike San Nicolas. Maybe one or the other,
I'm trying to.
You don't
figure
think
out,
Mike has a
Trying
chance?
to figure out what the analogy is here. You know, you're in there and you're in the fight, and you know you're training, and you don't know who it's going to be that you're fighting, right? You have no idea, and then you get to the ring, and all of a sudden Mike Tyson walks up. Because it would be one thing if it was somebody among his peers, I think, over at the legislature, but I mean, you got to go back a bunch of years. Doris Brooks has no problem getting elected. She's absolutely no. You go back to when she was running in the legislature, and number two vote getter. There's some people that I want to talk to this morning. That I think maybe might be able to provide a little bit more of a sense of perspective on this, for in particular for Mike, but also just generally. For me, this is an interesting angle on what is otherwise a pretty interesting race that's going on, but not much by way of competition in the Republican Party, and even the way the Democratic primary is going to end up. I'm not feeling yet 84 days away from the primary election. I'm still not feeling that urge, that drive. I want to go out and I want to vote tomorrow. And maybe now we've got a race that's going to be interesting.
Oh, I think it is.
Congressman Berdalio and Mike Sinicolas going into the primary, and then what happens after the primary, and who do they get to face in the general election? I don't know if anybody's going to be running on the Republican side for Congress, but there's still time to go pick up some packets. Well, she's going to run as
a Republican.
Right. But I don't know if anybody's going to run against her on the Republican side. See, and that would add another ring. As an example, Felix Camacho has wanted to go to D.C., right?
He did. He tried last time, didn't he?
Right. Yeah. And so now, we got a little bit more of a wide open race. So he could join and go up against Doris. Frank Blas Jr. has attempted to run against Madeleine Berdalio in the past. And he might want to go in there and just really shake the cage. You have 4 or 5 people running for Congress.
Why not? The more the merrier.
You and I should go and pick up some package. Now, I'm going to confess to being a little bit fuzzy on the mathematics now between here and so there's still time left in her term, and that means that there has to be an election now.
Especially, and it looks like it's going to be the primary election.
And then that's something that they can just decide over at the Election Commission?
Well, Maria Pangilinan told us yesterday that she's seeking legal advice on that, but the aim is to have it on the primary, which is August 26th.
Or about 85 days from now. Is there time to get to run up a campaign? There's a couple of people that I'm interested in talking to on that one as well that have run against
August 25th, not 6th.
Is that the date? Yeah. So Doris, this last time, did not run unopposed. There was somebody that ran against her. I've sent her a message on Facebook. I don't know if she's awake right now. She should be. She's supposed to go teach at the University of Guam. Oh, wait. Summertime. So, yeah, I'm not sure if she's going to be waking up early to get that, but I'll find out. Let me just finish up with the welcome to the program. Michael Knight gets the phone when you call, 888-8255. That number again is 888-8255. And if you're nice to him, he'll let you all the way through on the radio and start talking to me about whatever else it is. Like I said, I've got a little bit of fascination just because of the history and the principles that are involved in this conversation about Doris Brooks and now her role as a candidate for Congress. I mean, you almost don't even care what the platform is, right? You just go, well, this is interesting, isn't it? There's Mike Sinicolas. Wait a second. Now I got to come out with a statement. Great. What's he going to do? The statement is, oh, crap, what? That would have been my statement. No, we're not allowed to write that down. No, so we got to do one of those things where you get some soaring statesmanship in there, like, what a couple of great women. And you have to respect their years of contributions to the community, right? See, it's just call Oyal and see if Oyal can help you with a statement. Friends, you should always have a statement ready one way or the other. All right. Hey, look, the weather is back in front of me. I'll do my best. I'll try not to lose it this time, because I got to use it at least a couple more times today. Partly sunny and hazy, isolated showers in the forecast. East winds up to 20 miles an hour, decreasing after sunset. Daytime highs today, 88 degrees, and overnight lows of about 78 degrees. Now, just a little small talk here. Very disappointed last night. I missed the sunset.
Did you?
Yeah. I was up. I was here.
Right.
I was literally here. I'd gone for my afternoon run, parked in the back of the office, and finished up, I don't know, about 6:29, 6:30 or something like that. And I'm going, okay, I got time to catch it. Sat around, dried off a little bit, had some water, and looked at my watch and, oh, we're getting closer to sunset time.
Right.
You know, according to the numbers that you print for me every day. And I turned around, stood in the bed of the truck, and I looked over the fence, and in between the hotels, gigantic ball of sun.
Yeah.
Oh, it was gorgeous. I mean, it looked like you could reach out and grab it. And I thought, do I have time to get down to a beach to enjoy the sunset, the last rays of the day? And so I got in the truck, and I drove down the hill, past the Korean hot pants over at Mesclados, and down. I thought, where am I going to watch it? And so I thought, wait a minute. What is it? Guma Tranquilidad, you know, where the old people live?
Okay.
Because they got a nice beach down there. It nestled over, tucked into the Pac Star, and then over there. Yeah. So I got down there, and I run to the beach, and it was behind a bunch of clouds, and that was, the big red ball had gone behind a bunch of clouds. No, I was unable to see it. I was unable to see it, and then of course I missed the sunrise this morning. I tried to catch one or the other or both, but that was my big disappointment. But I didn't stick around to see if there was any crepuscular rays last night, or if we turned it. I didn't see anything on Facebook showing up either. But interesting and all, with all of the particulate in the air. That's why I wanted to see if I was going to get a spectacular sunset.
Yeah, I think the mass of the matter coming over is so sparse that it doesn't
not
really
even
reflect a whole
influencing
lot. Yeah, not much.
That's all right.
We more notice when we're looking off at something in the distance. And it reminds me actually a lot of living on the west coast of Hawaii and Kona, because they get this all the time.
Yeah.
This is a daily occurrence.
There's a nice moonrise, you know,
Yeah.
in exchange. I mean, we've had that big moon, the full moon for the last couple of days. That's sweet. 6:24 in the morning. A bunch of different ways that you can get a hold of me here in the program. RayGibsonShow@gmail.com. That's one of them. Another way that you can get a hold of me is just join us at Facebook Live, as Minatkan Paluma and Gwendolyn Timinglu have. There's Mo Cotton. Good morning, Mo. Nice to see you there. Valerie Lynn, Sue Lee, Chito De Guzman, Hafa Tony DeAngelo, Daryl Slider, and Tommy Barcinas, Francis Salas, and Paris Blas. There's my old classmate Elena Jose, Roy Gamboa, the commissioner. Nice to see you there. Sonia Kelly, who's joining us day after day after day. Eunice Mendiola, Lillian Cruz, Vince Duenas, Hafa Pedro Guerrero, Cisco Hutapea, Bob Lizama, Mitch Prashado, and you might not know him. He's a relative of mine, and should be on the west coast of the United States of America. Nice to see relatives watching me work. Timmy Lujan, Randy Kruger, Charlene Marchessault, Jeff Evans. Yes, that Jeff Evans. Darlene Bloss, hug to the old man for me. Milia Fison, and the usual gaggle, the regular crowd here. And I was thinking yesterday, you know what? We ought to do this. I wish there was a bar we could get together at every once in a while. Just all of these people in the same place with shots.
There we go.
Can you imagine the conversation that we'd be having there? So anyway, and a point that I made earlier on the program, listeners of this radio station, listeners on the Facebook Live, not surprised at the news about Doris Brooks's resignation, because you heard us talking about it here. I did ask on the online poll at thepoint.gu, because we have a website and we have a poll that we ask, who will win the race for Congress? And started warning you about that yesterday. And a whole day has passed, and these are the way the numbers look now. At first place, Michael St. Nicholas at 37.89. Second place is Doris Flores Brooks at 35.79. And Congresswoman Madeline Zebra-Dahlia, the incumbent, with 26.32%. And that's the lowest that I've seen it in a long time. Most of the day yesterday, she was either at 50% or just below it. So obviously a bunch of people have got to the polling site at thepoint.gu. But now it's real. Now this is a legitimate, it's not, there's nothing conjecturous about it. We know that these are the three candidates that are going to be going for the race. Now, there's another conversation that side chat politically that's going on, and I know that there are a couple of agents in the Democratic Party who are trying now, with the news that Doris Brooks is going to be running for Congress, are trying to convince Mike St. Nicholas that maybe the smart thing to do, with some political capital, and it would certainly make it more intriguing, it would be for him now. He's already decided he's not going to be in the legislature for the 35th Guam legislature, right? He says, I'm out of it. No muss. I'm finished. And so there's some people that are saying now that Doris is out over at the public auditor's office, maybe he should run for that. You know, arguably knows a thing or two about numbers and finance, and has been at the legislature long enough to be able to have the conversations about procurement and some of the other issues that will from time to time go before the public auditor's office. And there's a lot of bright people at the office that would be able to help him out in all of this. So, you know, if you've got an opening in one place and certainly face the possibility of getting crushed in the primary election, he'll disagree with me on this, but I'm just saying. Ask Frank Blas, find Tony Babauta. And see what these guys have got to say about running against Madeline Bordallo. Now, I have been asked, because some people think because I flap my gums on the radio, I might know a thing or two about this. I have been asked, do you think Doris can win? And as I said before, she's never had a problem getting votes. But then again, neither has Madeline Z. Bordallo. This is a kind of a clash of the Lady Titans that we've got around here. And maybe the way to do it is leave Mike in that race and have him try his very hardest to get a lot of Democrat votes out from under Madeline Z. Bordallo. And if he doesn't win, then maybe Doris can go and court all of those other people that were supporting Mike. And maybe that will be all it takes in order to win even this Wimbledon-style upset. Just a thought. You're welcome. If you agree, disagree, if you've got some other ideas on it, you got the telephone number. Happy to hear what you've got to say. Are there other topics this morning? No, that's all I'm going to talk about for the rest of the day. Probably not. Probably. There's a few other things that are worth talking about. Conversation about there's just more. Every time anybody opens a book on the Chamorro Land Trust Commission, we find out more. There were conversations yesterday that you know, just you go from just the baffling part to, oh my God, you've got to be kidding. The idea that the Chamorro Land Trust Commission, because it actually has money coming in, all of a sudden is paying for the bills for the Department of Land Management. Hey, we need some fancy digs around here. We got rent we got to pay. Oh, I don't have enough money for rent. Let's go and see if we can get some money from the Chamorro Land Trust Commission because, you know, they share the office with us. Really? Yeah. So which part of the word trust is not understood with the Chamorro Land Trust Commission? B.J. Cruz, and I love, you ever notice this about B.J.? He speaks in metaphor a lot and was talking about drugs and how Guam is drowning in drug-related crime, and I cannot disagree with that. Guam is literally drowning in drug-related crimes. And so he says, let me throw a lifeline. You like that? The drowning nice, lifeline. Yeah. So he's got the metaphor thing going down, you know, prevent us from drowning. And how does he want to do it? Increasing the arrival fees over at Customs, and maybe that will help us combat the smugglers. We'll talk about that and some of the ideas that will pop into my head based on that, and maybe some of the ideas that pop into your head. So is there more? Probably. Let's find out what the other big stories are from the Guam Daily Post. Headlines with Kevin Kerrigan.
Day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, Guam Delegate Madeline Bordallo spoke to the Guam Chamber of Commerce yesterday. She told chamber members she's optimistic the Senate will pass the National Defense Authorization Act recently approved by the House. The NDAA includes $377 million in military construction spending for Guam. It also extends the federal H-2B visa cap exemption for Guam until 2020, and it includes language that would require that the Navy conduct its repairs in American shipyards, including here on Guam, rather than going to foreign shipyards. Bordallo is a member of the conference committee that is working to reconcile any differences between the House and Senate versions of the NDAA. The Public Utilities Commission will vote tonight on the proposed purchase of 3 properties near the Harmon substation for the construction of Guam's newest power plant. The lots are currently owned by members of the Benavente and Duenas families. The Guam Power Authority offering about $10 million for the properties, which were recently rezoned for industrial use. The new power plant expected to provide more efficient energy with lower emissions than Guam's current aging baseload generators, which fail to meet federal emission standards and face more than $150 million in potential fines. Senator Fernando Esteves has introduced a bill to allow transgender individuals to legally change their gender marker on their birth certificates. Bill 291 would authorize the Office of Vital Statistics to amend any individual's gender on their birth certificate to the one which they identify with. Esteves said the bill would allow transgender individuals a path to legal recognition of their gender identity. Under the measure, an individual may file a petition in court. If they are at least 18 years old, the petition should include the reason for the change and a statement from a certified psychologist, social worker, or therapist affirming that the applicant's request reflects their sex or gender identity. A copy of a court order changing the legal sex of a person born on Guam is required, but no proof of surgical conditions are required. Many states have adopted similar legislation, and some states also require proof of a surgical procedure to allow a change of sex. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I got you. 6:33 is iConnect time. They want you to connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk and mobile plans.
Howdy, folks. Can't get enough of my KFC Smoky Mountain Barbecue? I'm bringing more to Guam this month with my new KFC Smoky Mountain Grilled Barbecue Chicken. KFC's chicken coated with a sweet and smoky barbecue sauce. Oh, and by the way, Smoky Mountain Barbecue is still available on KFC's Extra Crispy Chicken and boneless strips. KFC, it's finger licking good.
The log says to do traffic right now, so I'm going to do traffic even though there is none of it at 6:34. We must be heading into the summertime, the quiet months for traffic. It'll build up a little bit coming out of Jigo and into Dededo as you head southbound on Marine Corps Drive, but it's barely doing that right now. Is one other place where it might be bunching up a little bit. Nah, it's not even doing that there. So if you're on the road right now, enjoy the drive. Take your time wherever you're headed. Go and stop by and grab a cup of coffee and go find someplace to park and listen to the radio. I think it's going to be a good show today. This is Ray Gibson on The Point, and that's Right Now Traffic.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
The Ray Gibson Show, your new News Talk headquarters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Studio time is 6:35. Raymond Gibson here, and Facebook Live, or James Howard is saying, wow, generous. Not sure why, but he is. And Anna Leoncio Kilroy says, hey, hello. Well, hello to you. Randy Kruger says, I think Mike can win over Madeline. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that opinion. And I will tell you, you know what? Maybe there's a way. Maybe there's a, with some legislation that he's working on, let's repeal the tax increases and right-size the conversation on the 2% visible tax. Let's have that conversation. I know that he's crazy about that. But he's also working on something else. Bill 289, you might remember there was a conversation they were having over at the legislature last week about trying to get some attention from the federal government, make some actual changes to the Organic Act. And he's got a new bill that has been proposed, an act to provide for an act of provision of Guam law for the government to deposit a required percentage of tax collection into the income tax refund efficient payment trust fund for the payment of income tax refund. So he wants to make that guaranteed because it is part of the Organic Act. But it doesn't stop there. And by the way, I like that idea. And I'm in love with this idea as well. Enact a provision such that any provision enacted and administered under the authority of the government of Guam which establishes a locally enacted tax or increases a locally enacted tax must be ratified by the voters of Guam with allowance for a state of emergency, if so ratified by 2/3 vote of the Guam legislature. I like this idea, too. I've been nuts about this idea since the first time I heard about the government of Guam wanting to raise taxes years ago. And I said, wait a second, there's something in law. Mark Forbes and Speaker Ben, they put words in the law that said that it had to have voter approval once upon a time. But the legislature, pretty tricky about things. They like to use notwithstanding as a phrase. Notwithstanding any other provision. So we're going to do whatever we want. Notwithstanding always works to the benefit of the legislature, never to the taxpayer. And so in this case, he wants to make it so that anytime anybody in the government, the governor, the legislature, whoever, wants to increase or enact a new tax, it has to be ratified by the voters of Guam, or if it's in some kind of so-called state of emergency, ratified by the legislature by a 2/3 vote. Not impossible, but you got to remember, if it comes down to that, that's going to be a hard time. Because the people are going to remember who was on the two-thirds side of that vote. And then there's another one, which is another trick that the government of Guam likes to do when we need to borrow money for whatever reason. That's another time that they like to use the notwithstanding any other bits and pieces of the law phraseology. This would prohibit them from using that because it would be part of the Organic Act. Any provision which increases the public indebtedness by at least $25 million shall be ratified by the voters of Guam. Because we don't want to mortgage the lives of our children and grandchildren any more than we already have. Now, the big numbers that are going to be coming through here in just a little bit on debt repayment in the government of Guam, and that's another consideration that they're going to have as they contemplate the idea of taking away the taxes, is how much additional money have we made with that 1% increase in the business privilege tax, and will that make a big, yes, that is that one, will that make a big deal next year? Well, remember, next year our public indebtedness, our debt payments, if you will, our mortgage payments to our lenders are going to be going up. And I want to say it's going to be going up by several $1 million. I got to take a look at the abstract and see what it says. 20 away from the top of the hour. And let me just compliment Maria Pangilinan on what a great resource the Guam Election Commission website is.
Half a day, Mr. Ray Gibson.
Now, I'm sorry we're catching you so early, but you know what? Gotta get you when I can. It's all right?
That's all right.
All right. Maria Pangilinan from the Guam Election Commission. And so, if you will, fill in a little bit of what needs to be done in order to fill the vacancy at the OPA?
What's clear in the law, Ray, is that an election must happen within 90 days of the resignation. So that puts us on or about the primary election day. Mm-hmm. When we had heard talk about the public auditor resignation, we went back and we looked at the law.
Oh, you heard those rumors too, Maria?
Well, you know, we have to keep close touch with the voters and the island. And I have very competent young men and women in the office that make sure that it gets to me. It's not me directly.
All right. I heard some Yahoo was talking about it on the radio before it was fact. Anyway, so you started paying attention to it, and so what were the next steps after you caught wind of it?
Well, the first thing is go through the election code, and then go through the public auditor law in Title I. Mm-hmm. And so we did. And so, in the law, we saw that how the vacancy would be handled. The only thing that it says is that we have to have an election within 90 days of the vacancy if it's outside of 240 days to the term. So the election would take place inside those 90 days, and the winner, the highest vote getter, mm-hmm. would sit as public auditor up until the end of the current term.
And so it's 86 days now, 87 days from the announcement yesterday of her resignation.
Yes. So yesterday afternoon, I was looking to see what provisions in the law may allow. Mind you, I'm not so clear yet, and we have to get legal counsel advice. And the only people that can call this election is the Guam Election Commission commissioners, the board.
Right.
And so we're, as you know, since yesterday afternoon, we've been taking a look at it, and we're going to await legal counsel advice on whether this can happen this way, where how we can do it efficiently, how we can do the special election.
Right. Because it won't make sense to have a primary and then a couple of days later have a special election.
That's correct.
To fill the seat.
Right. So if it's within the law, the board will take a look at it. If it's outside the law, the board will take a look at it, and we'll take it from there. So
if you can't change the 90-day thing, is the date of the election prescribed by law? Is there statute that says that the primary election shall take place August 25th?
You know, based on our title code, our election code in Chapter 1, I think the law says, and I apologize. I'm not at the office, and I don't have.
That's all right. It's all right. I'm just saying, if we cannot move one date, can we move another?
I think the primary election day is set, and I think within 90 days. So it could be any time before the 90th day that we can have the election.
I see.
Yes. So as you may start to, as I started to look at this, I said, at this point in time, could the special election be the primary election? And that's of course something to look at.
Okay. When do you think council might be able to provide some kind of answer on that?
Well, I possibly today. Possibly, I say today. The question was posed already to him, so we'll take a look at it. I don't want to put any pressure on him. He's been doing a lot of work for us.
Yes.
A lot of work for us, and he's been great. So we're almost there, I think. But I cannot, we have to wait. We'll wait, and as soon as we hear, and more so, as soon as the Guam Election Commission board says this is the way it goes, we'll take a look at it.
Okay, and hopefully it won't be such a controversial thing that it will give rise to any complaints or any protests against the commission on wavering on a date or something that is already prescribed in law. So we'll watch and we'll see what happens on that one. Now the other thing I was looking for, I was able to get some numbers from obviously the 2016 general election, but I wanted to be able to go back a little bit further than that, and I was able to get some paperwork on 2008. What I wanted to find out was people that have had the temerity to run against Doris Brooks for the OPA position, to find out if some of those people might want another swing at the job, because now there's going to be a special election, right?
That's correct, yes.
Wait, let me just back up here for a second. Now, this will also then give rise to something unique that the Guam Election Commission has to do. You have to now stand up all of the systems that you need to support, number one, a special election in this category, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's like planning for a whole other election.
Yes, and we have standard timelines in place, so we take that and we plug in an actual date, and all the other dates will come in.
Okay. No, I was going to say you weren't necessarily planning on doing an election for the public auditor, but now it's starting to look like that you're going to have to. But what I'm looking for is the results of the 2004 general election, and I was thinking maybe I could go all the way back to like 2000 in the first election. Who did she run against for that job? Do you remember?
No, I don't. I apologize, but you can get it on the website.
Okay, I'll dig a little bit deeper. I was looking for it in your abstracts, but it kept every time I searched for Doris Brooks, it just gave her as the OPA, as the winner of the OPA race. It didn't tell me who she was running against. I'll just ask her later. It's okay. It's okay.
That's a quick way to get it.
Yeah, well, I imagine. Yeah, I imagine that there'll be a conversation between her and I. But I appreciate your time this early in the morning, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
All right. Maria Pangolina from the Guam Election Commission. And the question that we're trying to answer here is about the election and when it's going to be, and is it in fact going to end up being a part of the primary election? They've got to go through legal counsel, and they'll get to that. But what I wanted to find out, like I said, is who in the past has had the temerity to run against Doris Brooks for the position of public auditor. The only one that I could find in the record at the Guam Election Commission, and I just don't remember it well enough, is a lady named Doreen Therese Crisostomo, who ran against Doris Brooks in the 2016 election, if I am holding on to everything right. And what were the results of that? Doris Brooks won that one, obviously, 20,264 votes to Doreen's 12,843. So Doris got 61% of the vote, and that is the way that the particular election ended up for her. In 2008, Doris won the election because nobody ran against her. It was just her out there alone in the field, and so I thought, well, that's going to end up being pretty cool. So there is now the concept of her running against Madeline Z. Berdalio for the congressional race. And there have been people that have flexed their political muscle and tried to spend whatever political capital they had in order to do that, in order to unseat her in Congress. And one of them is my old classmate, Frank Blas Jr. Good morning, Frank. Havadero.
Hey, hi. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning to you. So I'm looking for you to provide some advice and counsel to a Republican colleague, Doris Flores Brooks, as she attempts to take on the powerhouse that is Madeline Berdalio.
Okay.
What's it going to take for her to win?
She's got to get out there every day and meet as many people as she can and talk about what she can do in Congress. Most especially if you're going to have a Republican-run House and a Republican president, and that she is going to be somebody that's going to really listen to what people have to say and bring those concerns, bring Guam's concerns to D.C.
You did all of that stuff, but you didn't win?
Well, maybe the third time's the charm.
Tony did all that stuff. He didn't win.
The thing is, you just got to go out there. Anybody who runs has got to really want it. And, there are times that the electorate and God, feels that, no, I want you to go down this path, and so you accept that, and you move down. You move forward.
Yeah.
But you got to give it your best effort.
Well, it's certainly a tough fight, and anybody that you and the other names that I've mentioned know probably better than anybody else that she once she is in the fight, she doesn't give up, and she will marshal all of her resources. And like former Governor Gutierrez, she still has a machine. She still has. I mean, she got people you WhatsApp, and then all of a sudden there's 500 people that will show up somewhere.
Yeah, but I think that you can also think that the electorate is changing, okay, and many of the people that she had relied on have since moved on, to and is now at the pearly gates. Mm-hmm. That said, though, is that you've got a up and coming new breed of voters who don't remember the nostalgia and don't remember the names. I tell you, just in my discussions with a number of people, your true and your traditional party person is becoming more and more scarce. When I was running, I remember a number of people that they would have loved to vote for me, but I was in the wrong party. and for that reason alone,
right?
You know, and so today, it's a much different electorate, and so, but with this electorate, you better be on your game, and you better be able to go out and meet them where they're at and answer the questions that they have.
Doris has always been able to run as a good surrogate for you think about where she was in the 80s and in the 90s. She was a good surrogate, I think, for that younger changing dynamic that you're talking about, and probably could still do it today.
And yes, and she has actually, if you looked at her staff, with the public auditor's office, a lot of them were fairly young, and because she had trusted what they knew and what they could do, and she's got a good start on that. Well, Madeline as well. She's got some really good people. It goes back to it's a changing electric, changing voter. And you got to be able to reach out and touch them.
There is going to be the argument made, and I've heard the argument made for everybody that has run for Congress that was trying to beat Tony Juan, Pat, Ben Blas, Robert Underwood, and now it's and I've heard the conversation used against you when you were running, is that there's so much at stake, and seniority in committees means something. Do you think that is a critical component in an argument, in a debate for the congressional race?
10, 20 years ago, probably. Today, if you watch CNN and Fox News and C-SPAN, you see a lot of these up-and-coming, these individuals who've unseated individuals who've been there for decades and are going in and making a lot of noise for the constituency. And you got to have an individual. The way you beat out that seniority thing is passion, and you stick to it. When I ran, I ran on that passion, and that I'm going to run and bring the people's voice to D.C. And I had every intention of doing that, recognizing that there are going to be times I'm going to go up against what we call now the swamp.
Yeah,
but. Look at that guy too, okay? I mean, he went up against the swamp and he won.
One other thought is I'm playing around with just the topic in my head is the divisions in the Democratic Party have always been easy to see. We fight. It's a family, right? Little less so in the Republican side, if you will. Do you think that Doris is going to be able to command the attention of all of the Republicans, the Calvo-crats and the Camacho-crats, et cetera?
It's you never take that for granted. Never. Just because you're a Republican, don't think that all Republicans are going to vote for you. Okay, I admit there are some Republicans that did not vote for me, but they were just as there are Democrats that did. So you can't be afraid. I mean, I've always felt that being a Republican or Democrat was basically an August to November thing. Once you're in, you've got to be able. It's not. You're not going to base your commitment or your sincerity or what you're going to do for this constituent based on the political party affiliation. All right, the person. I remember there was one time an individual who told me that wasn't going to vote for me.
Wait, I missed that. You coughed all of a sudden. I lost you. You remember one time what?
There was an individual that told me wasn't going to vote for me, and I probably didn't vote for me. But then down the road, in office, met up with the individual and was able to help that person. And the person looked at me and says, "But I didn't vote for you." And I said, "That doesn't matter. I'm a senator."
Yeah.
And you've got to have that mindset.
One last thing before I let you get back to the insurance gig. That's where I can find you, right?
Yes, you can find me there. I'm doing that, and I'm doing other stuff too.
Okay. Well, when we got more time, I'll bring you in the studio to talk about some of the other stuff that you're up to. It's real exciting. But last thing, because we've been talking about maybe advice that you can give Doris to take on the juggernaut that is Congresswoman Madeline Zibardallo. But what advice now do you give to Michael Sinikolas? I mean, I'm sorry, it just feels like a new race all of a sudden, and I'm not sure that Mike's going to be able to survive this.
Well, he can. I mean, anybody that does has, put it this way. If he didn't run, he would never have a chance. Okay? And so if he decides to run, he's got to run. And he's got to go out there and he's got to compare and contrast. And he's got to show why he's the better person. He would be the better candidate to represent the party. And, it's not a far-flung idea, and it may take, and I'll tell you, a couple of people ask me, says, what is it going to take to be balanced? You got to beat her up. You got to hold her accountable to everything that she's done, and everything she said, and everything that is happening. Okay, if you continue to let her be on the offense, you're going to play a lot of defense, and I tell you what. Playing defense, you get tired easy.
Yeah. That's a fact. Well, we'll see. I don't know. Like I said, there's some people that have been aware of this potentiality and are trying to convince him now to drop out of this race and go into the public auditor race, which is so far uncontested and, by the way, nonpartisan.
Yeah. But he came to me several months ago. And he had asked me, what would my advice for him? And I looked at him, I said, beat her up.
See, that's why Frank is not just his name. It's also descriptive of his manner. He's a very frank. This is what you're going to have to do if you're going to win. You have to take the offensive against Madeline, and it's good advice whether you're Mike Sinikolas or whether you're Doris Brooks. We'll watch and see with a great deal of interest where this is going to be headed. You've got your head in the ring for the senator's job, right?
Somebody had picked up. There was a group of individuals that continued to try to convince me, to run.
How's that going?
Well, I've not said no completely to it. I'm not at yes yet, and for good reason. One of the most.
Well, make a decision because you need the job back. Because I need to get my road paved. I gotta run because the news is coming up.
Wrong branch of government, buddy. You know that. Wrong branch of government. Okay. I gotta concentrate on my war survivors right now.
All right, we'll talk about that next time. Frank Blas Jr.
Yes.
Okay, I'll see you because I got to do the news. I'll talk to you pretty soon. It's my classmate Frank Blas Jr. Daru, as we called him in school, with some sound advice for Doris Brooks and Mike Sinikolas. There's more to this conversation and more guys that I can talk to about how they blew their chance at it. But right now, Fox News on KUSG. I got you.
Live from New York, the Fox Report.
And Lisa Brady. It's not a sure thing, but plans for the possibly back on again North Korea summit are about to kick into high gear. Fox's Jared Halpern is live at the White House.
A top North Korean official, Kim Yong-chol, is in New York. He'll meet with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Other U.S. diplomats have been talking with North Korean counterparts in the Korean DMZ and Singapore.
The conversation is going to be focused on denuclearization of the peninsula.
And as long as that is part of the discussion, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says the administration will shoot for that June 12th summit in Singapore, but be ready should it take place later. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. Well, the UN Security Council holding an emergency session requested by the U.S. on mortar attacks by Hamas militants fired from Gaza into Israel.
As I have asked my colleagues before, I will ask you again today, who among us would accept 70 rockets launched into your country? We all know the answer to that. No one would.
U.S. Ambassador Nikki Haley noting that one of those rockets yesterday landed in a kindergarten playground. No one was killed. She argues, though, Hamas is trying to kill civilians to spur a retaliatory attack by Israel. that could draw international criticism. First Lady Melania Trump apparently well aware of the speculation about her whereabouts since being released from the hospital following a procedure more than a week ago. She just tweeted a short time ago, "I see the media is working overtime, speculating where I am and what I'm doing." She writes, "Rest assured, I'm here at the White House with my family, feeling great, working hard on behalf of children and the American people." Wall Street bounces back, the Dow up 306 points. On the Fox Report, fair and balanced.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time is a-wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
Are you a veteran or on active duty looking for a home loan and VA eligible? Then Bank Pacific stores are open to you, where we are a VA-approved preferred lender. That simply means we can give you faster credit approvals and loan closing. And with today's super low rates, you just can't go wrong. Bank Pacific's My VA Loan, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply. Viva Bank Pacific.
A day after the Roseanne reboot was canceled over a tweet widely condemned as racist, President Trump suggests a double standard in the Disney CEO's apology to Valerie Jarrett, the former Obama administration official targeted in the tweet, noting that he never got an apology for things said about him by ABC personalities. Meantime, Roseanne didn't leave Twitter after all, apologizing to Jarrett again and then asking fans not to defend her.
Quoting, "Hey guys, don't defend me. It's sweet of you to try, but losing my show is zero compared to being labeled a racist over one tweet that I regret even more." And then when she blamed Ambient Man, Twitter took her to task, and Roseanne responded, quoting, "No, I didn't. I blamed myself. Stop lying. Yes, I have had odd ambient experiences on tweeting late at night like many other people do. I blame myself, okay?"
Fox's Trace Gallagher, the maker of the sleep aid Ambien, Sanofi, in a written statement saying racism is not a known side effect of any of its medications. Kim Kardashian West at the White House at this hour, scheduled to meet with senior advisor Jared Kushner, who heads the administration's prison reform efforts.
The reality star and wife of Kanye West is pushing for a pardon for a jailed 62-year-old great-grandmother. First-time drug offender Alice Johnson was sentenced to life in prison without parole on money laundering and drug conspiracy charges. Vanity Fair is reporting Kardashian West will also meet with President Trump.
Fox's Jacqueline Carl. Thousands of winning lottery tickets won't be paid in South Carolina, where the Lottery Commission is blaming a state law that says tickets printed in error must not be paid. A computer glitch led to machines spitting out more than 70,000 winning tickets worth up to $500 each on Christmas Day. At least 2 lawsuits already filed. Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest steak and cheese, turkey, bacon, and guac, rotisserie-style chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience. But I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway, make it what you want.
Say hello to high-speed data on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. We've just upped your prepaid data, so make your big plans bigger with 1 gigabyte of data per day. Bigger prepaid data for your big plans that just keep getting better. Enjoy high-speed data and unlimited local talk and text on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. Text LTE to 3282, select a plan, and enjoy 1 gigabyte of data per day. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
Howdy, folks. Can't get enough of my KFC Smoky Mountain Barbecue? I'm bringing more to Guam this month with my new KFC Smoky Mountain Grilled Barbecue Chicken. KFC's chicken coated with a sweet and smoky barbecue sauce. Oh, and by the way, Smoky Mountain Barbecue is still available on KFC's Extra Crispy Chicken and Boneless Strips. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Thursday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Agfayan Incorporated, a tax-exempt nonprofit, has fallen more than $174,000 behind in lease payments on prime commercial land under the Chamorro Land Trust Commission. Senator Frank Uggan Jr. has filed a Freedom of Information Act request to find out why. Agfayan's past due lease account was one of a number discussed during Tuesday's third and final CLTC oversight hearing. Agfayan is a registered tax-exempt nonprofit for farmers with the Department of Rev and Tax. The lot it leases is at the corner of Harmon Loop Road and Route 1. The lease terms require the property to be used for a locally owned farmers market or retail operation, but it's currently occupied by a Thai restaurant, a fish store, and a hardware store. Senator Uggan reiterated during the hearing that a temporary receiver who is independent and trustworthy needs to be appointed to review CLTC leases and restore trust to the Chamorro Land Trust program. Doris Brooks is resigning from her position as elected public auditor to run for the island's lone seat in the U.S. Congress as a Republican. At a news conference yesterday, Brooks said that with her knowledge and expertise of Guam's finances, she feels she can better articulate Guam's problems before Congress. She said one of her priorities would be to focus on getting federal reimbursement for GovGuam's payment of the Earned Income Tax Credit, which Guam taxpayers now pay. Brooks said her resignation becomes effective on June 8th. Guam Election Commission Executive Director Maria Pangilinan telling the Post that she is seeking legal advice on whether a public auditor's race can be included on the August primary ballot. Guam election law says that when more than 6 months remain in a public auditor's term, a special election must be held no more than 90 days after such a vacancy occurs. We'll have more news after this.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Rain. It's nature's way of cleansing the earth. Yet by the time that rainwater makes its way to your home, it may not be exactly the same as nature created it. A Kinetico water treatment system can improve the quality of the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home, so you can be sure your water is clear, clean, and fresh, just as nature intended it to be. Kinetico, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech, 649-2301, or email info@americanwatertech.com.
11 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. The federal government has recommended that Vincent Raymond Rios be sentenced to 30 years behind bars for conspiring to distribute more than 18 pounds of crystal methamphetamine on island. Although Rios accepted responsibility and pleaded guilty to federal drug charges earlier, the government contends that he didn't provide any substantial assistance to ongoing drug investigations. Rios and his girlfriend, Sue Ann Baker, were picked up by law enforcement in November 2016 after they retrieved packages containing 18 pounds of meth that were mailed to their personal post office box, hidden in inflatable air mattresses and 3 clear plastic heat-sealed bags. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms seized approximately $1.1 million from Rios's safety deposit boxes at 2 local banks, as well as his Aposento Gardens condominium and Dededo home. Federal government contends Rios was involved in a criminal conspiracy for years and brought unprecedented quantities of meth into Guam. Rios is scheduled to be sentenced on June 28th in district court. Speaker Benjamin Cruz has introduced a measure that would more than double the passenger arrival fee to provide additional funding to help stem the flow of drugs into the island. Bill 293 seeks to raise the visitor arrival fee from $8.29 now to $20 effective October 1st. In a statement, the speaker said that ice and cocaine are tearing the community apart. The additional income, he said, would allow Guam Customs to hire more officers to fortify our borders and prevent drug-related crimes before they start. Customs relies primarily on passenger service fees to fund its manpower costs. The agency has not raised its fees for several years, although Speaker Cruz said that he has repeatedly urged them to do so. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray now has found the weather.
It's in front of me. Partly sunny skies, Kevin. Hazy with isolated showers. Winds east up to about 20 miles an hour, decreasing after sunset. Highs today about 88 degrees. And overnight lows are going to be 78 degrees. Sunset tonight should be 6:44. Sunrise this morning. This morning was at 5:52. Should be about 5:52, 5:51 as it breaks the horizon tomorrow. The summary, and I didn't get a chance to read this to you last hour. Today looks mostly dry with only isolated showers. Isolated thunderstorms are possible tomorrow and tomorrow night. The volcanic haze should decrease after today, barring any major eruptions from Mount Kilauea on the Big Island of Hawaii. 7:13, that's news and weather together right here on The Point.
One of the longest-running primary care clinics on Guam, the FHP Health Center, has been your convenient one-stop healthcare clinic for you and your family for many generations. FHP's highly trained and well-known medical, dental, and vision providers and their friendly clinical support team are here, ready to take care of you. In addition to the excellent care, FHP offers a full-service pharmacy, laboratory, radiology, and specialty care center in one location. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic. Most insurance accepted, including Netcare, Aetna, and TRICARE.
Portions of the program brought to you by my friends over at King's Restaurant. They're your friends, too. They want you to eat good every day, and every day they've got a different local lunch special. Salisbury steak on Monday, beefsteak tomorrow, on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays, pork sinigang. Today, it's meatloaf, and tomorrow, beef tenactac. You could eat lunch there every single day. All the different items in the menu. And you're going to love the prices. You love the service. It's waiting for you lunchtime at King's.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There are so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
7:14, portions of the program also brought to you by American President Lines. American President Lines is shipping the future.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Just doing a run-through of the headlines in the financial market. The U.S. Treasury yields are rebounding as Italy's credit concerns are easing. Asian stocks decline after global markets fall on that Italian turmoil. And this one here has got me a little bugged here. U.S. crude surges 2.2%, setting at $68.21 for West Texas crude on signs that OPEC's output caps may actually survive, which is a different story that we got yesterday. And just as I go into some of the market numbers, at least on the oil, just a reminder, West Texas numbers for me are real time. They're actually what's in the market today. Tapis numbers are typically delayed by the reporting companies by about 48 hours. So we're probably going to see this number for Tapis inch up just a hair as today. Tomorrow we'll watch it go up. Day after tomorrow we'll watch it go up. Today West Texas went up, and I anticipate as Tapis will catch up with it. However, let me give you the numbers now. $68.23 for West Texas crude. If you're buying Tapis, like we do around here, $76.84. So it continues to be moving in the right direction. I hope that it does not go back up on this OPEC output cap story in the next couple of days, but I got a feeling that it will. But $76.84, at least for today, that's going to put a smile on my face. Anybody got anything indexed to the markets? Good for you. All of the American markets closed up in the green today. The S&P 500 at 2,724, up by about 34 points. Big jump for NASDAQ as they closed up 65 points higher, 7,462, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average at 24,667. That's nice. That's a 306-point increase, which puts them about where they were on Tuesday. Sorry, it just is. FTSE's in the green. The Nikkei closed yesterday down by 339 points, but they're probably going to find some green today. We'll watch that number tomorrow. Hang Seng is at 30,056. They lost 427 points the other day, but we'll watch and see if that number starts rebounding. Shanghai was down as well, but we'll, as I said, now that there might be some good news with things settling down a little bit on the Italian turmoil. We'll watch as they come back to the markets today. 7:18, and that's basically what's going on there. I was going to do some Trump tweets, but I haven't had a chance to go through it. Trump's in the headlines. His administration reportedly plans to impose tariffs on the EU steel and aluminum. And that's the big Trump financial story. The big just Trump story now is he's ripping CEO Bob Iger of Disney for defending Obama-aide after Roseanne Barr's racist tweet. I might read up on this and just see if I can find some logic behind getting involved in that story, period, Donald. I don't know. The smart move might have been to just stay out of it. But right now, tell you what, let's do Jerry Roberts and his extra point today.
Has your shoe size increased since you've been in your current job? I'm Jerry Roberts, and if that shoe size is the same size as when you walked through the door the first time, we've got work to do, starting right now on the Extra Point. If you were to announce that you're leaving your job today, would your boss gulp and start to have an anxiety attack, wondering how in the world he or she will ever find someone to measure up to you? Or would the boss say, "Oh, we'll be so sorry to see you go," but no anxiety attack, no real reaction at all? Sadly, I think that's the case most of the time. There was a maintenance man at the company a close friend once worked for. His name was Gus, a soft-spoken guy who always had a ready smile. He took care of the electrical, plumbing, air conditioning, installed new windows, painted the lines in the parking lot, and did just about everything else. It was a small company and didn't have a dedicated technology specialist to deal with the computer system. Gus had learned about computers through trial and error, had built a couple of PCs, and offered to help whenever they had an issue with the computer or software. This was in addition to his other duties. Gus often came in or took trouble calls from workers on his off days, and he never once complained. He also got cars running for a lot of people, hemmed a dress, repaired a broken zipper, and used first aid skills to deal with a few cuts, scratches, and even a slight fracture. Gus was also a great cook. Nobody missed work on potluck days because they knew that he would bring something special. He made everyone feel like buddies, and there was weeping the day Gus announced at a staff meeting that he was leaving, moving to the East Coast to take care of his parents. If his position ever had a formal job description, he had long since exceeded it. Gus was a good guy whose job description was that he would do everything he could every day to help people and to help his company. Maybe you've already guessed how all this ties in with your shoe size. When Gus resigned, he left enormous shoes to fill, much larger than the shoes of the person he had replaced. So here's your question again. What's your shoe size? Is it larger than the day you walked into your current position? In what ways have you exceeded your job description? If someone asked your fellow workers for stories about you, what would they be? One more question. How would you like it if your shoe size today proved to be much smaller than it will be on the day you leave? If so, get after it. Start now. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, I'm Jerry Roberts.
Yeah, know a thing or two about big shoes. 7:21 in the morning, outstanding feature today, Jerry. And if you'd like a copy of it, go to GuamTraining.com and get yours.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on the Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegui of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan, protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Yeah, looking to see if we got anything that is snagging anybody up in the roads today, and it doesn't look like it. Traffic. The only place I can see where traffic is actually slowing down right now is up Santos Hill. That brings you from the Weston all the way up the hill and onto Marine Corps Drives. Traffic's starting to build up on Route 3 as a bunch of people that live up in that area want to get down to Marine Corps Drive so that they can come to work and home. Don't see too much snagging up in Dededo. Don't see anything happening on 8, 10, and 16. How about down in Manila? Do I have anything happening in Manila? Any over by Ubbing Street in the intersection that takes you into Court and Torres Street. Doesn't look like there's anything that's going to slow you down too much. Working at 7:22 this morning. We'll check a little bit later on and see if that's going to be the case with the rest of the morning show. Right here on The Point.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for zero money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
Now, this is interesting. Find me a doctor to talk about this. Donald Trump, on his tweets just a little bit ago, has signed off on the right to try law. That is, patients with life-threatening illnesses. I'm reading directly from one of his tweets. With life-threatening illnesses will finally have access to experimental treatment that could improve or even cure their conditions. These are experimental treatments and products that have shown great promise. How interesting is that? I didn't realize there was something like that going. But every once in a while, you watch something on TV and somebody is dying of some rare and untreatable disease, and here comes the intern that says, "Oh, we should try this. It's an experimental drug or an experimental treatment," but it hasn't gone all the way through the testing process or whatever. Maybe this right to try law is an opportunity to circumvent all of that. We'll see. 7:24 in the morning, 888-8255. That is 888-TALK. And I'll go through a couple of comments on Facebook Live here in just a second. But recognize that there you might be out looking for a job. And I don't know, and I haven't checked this week, whether that clubmate position is still open over at PIC. You know you want it. You know you want it. You don't even try.
Mike and I already applied.
Just got that crazy idea, just punch out of the grid of life and never mind the job and the rat race that you're in. And just all you get to do is you get to hang out in roller derby shorts and a tank top and get a righteous tan and watch the Koreans and the Japanese all day at PIC. That's it.
Yeah, they told me my hair was too long.
No, there's a guy there with, I've seen a guy, there's a Japanese guy with, he's got, it's an unusual kind of cut, if I recall it correctly, because it's long from about the crown of his head,
right,
out to the end of the the hair, but it's short all the way around.
Oh, okay.
It's like a long Peaky Blinders haircut or something like that. But anyway, I've seen the guy, so that's not the impediment. That's just what they didn't want to say.
He speaks Japanese, then I don't.
But you can't do that. So the reason is they didn't want to say you're too old, Mike. So they found something else. They said your hair is too long.
Nice. I'll take their word for it. Okay.
But anyway, so there's a job fair that's going to be taking place, and the folks over at the Department of Labor have asked that we circulate this information wide, and Greg Massey's my friend, so I will. Granite Oboyashi, a joint venture, is looking for, like everybody else around here, is looking for laborers, carpenters, iron workers, heavy equipment operators, pipe fitters, cement masons, engineers, and survey field technicians. And I'm looking at I think the only one that I might qualify for here is laborer. What do? I lift things and I move them and I pick it up and I put it over there. That's what I do. I am the laborer guy here in this camp. Can you carpent? Are you a carpenter? Iron worker? So
I can build a sawhorse, but that's about it.
I don't know that I've got the capability of doing that. I'm not the hammer and the nail guy. Right. That my Uncle Jim could do that. Uncle Jim could take a couple of 4x8s and a couple of yards worth of 2x4s and practically build a house. Mm-hmm. And I can't line them up so that they're straight together. So I don't know about that. Heavy equipment operators, no, never took that class. Pipe fitters. Here's the thing, and even though I may be disqualifying myself from everything other than laborer, if you're looking for a job, they're lining up applications for you Saturday, 8 to noon at the Granite Guam office in the GCIC building, Suite 902 in Hagutnya. And essentially what they're looking for is people to fill the Finnegodzin Utilities and Site Improvements Phase 1. I have no idea what that project is. Sounds like it might be related to the military buildup, but it sounds also like a great opportunity maybe for somebody to go in as a laborer, and when you're done laboring, then what you do is you go and you hang out with the carpenters or the iron workers or see if the heavy equipment operators will let you drive some of that heavy equipment around. And before you know it, maybe you're the guy on the job that everybody goes to because you know a little bit about everybody else's gig, and you can become indispensable on the job. And who knows, maybe it will be the Granite Oboyashi and Kevin construction firm.
When opportunity knocks.
And it's knocking loud and clear here. Granite Oboyashi, a joint venture, affirmative action, equal opportunity employer of minorities, females, protected veterans, individuals with disabilities, and a drug-free workplace. And when we're talking about females here, if you're not currently a female, based on Esteves' new legislation, you might be able to go to public health and change that and just say, well, I wasn't before.
And you don't have to prove it.
But I am now. By virtue of the fact that I said so. So that's the interesting piece of legislation that we've got going over there. If you are currently a male-owned business and you're looking to get that next federal check mark on your eligibility to be in all kinds of other joint ventures and things like that, maybe you ought to go and check out that law and change your gender so that you can become a female-managed business. And like I said, that clicks off another check mark there on the gizmo. 7:29 in the morning. On the what have I got here? This morning's VOG. Daryl is seeing some of that outside. I can fill out online surveys. Do I qualify? Yes, you do. Can you work WhatsApp? Then you can be a what do you call it? A laborer here. Randy Kruger had mentioned in the last hour on the Facebook Live that he thought that Mike could win this election and beat Madeline Berdalio in the primary. And I said, really, why? He was driving at the time, but he's stable now. So here's what he says. Couldn't clarify my statement as I was on the road. Mike is young and energetic, and I believe he has the younger crowd's vote. He also does not stick to party lines, which can be good at times. For those reasons, I believe Mike can beat Madeline in the primary. Then I want you, Randy, to go to thepoint.gu and fill out the survey that we've posted for all of the listeners like you. Who will win the race for Congress? When I posted this originally, Doris Brooks was not a confirmed member of this team that is running for Congress. She is now. So who's going to be, who's the leader at this point? Let me see. 35.79% say Doris Brooks. That is number 2 to Michael Sinicolas, 37.89, and Madeline Berdalio in third place at 26.32.
You know, he's got a point, because if Doris and Madeline can split the vote of those voters who are looking for experience, then he walks in there with those who are looking for a new change, and that could give him the up.
That's it's a toss of the dice here, and my speculation, from the hip view here is that this has now become a race between Madeline and Doris. And to the degree that Mike is young and energetic and has got good legislative experience and good fiscal experience, none of that makes any difference. Right. We're talking about a couple of people that have never, ever had a problem winning elections and getting votes. So, for Mike, if you haven't signed up yet, maybe you can just white out, snowpeck all of the for Congress and stuff on your bumper stickers and write something else in there, like put me back in the legislature. It's not too late to do that, right?
No, I don't.
No, in fact, it's going to be a while before you've actually got to turn in your petitions over at the Guam Election Commission. So you can do that, or say, you know what, maybe I'll be the public auditor. There's a hole there now, and there's not too many people since Doris has been running that have expressed an opinion to even want to run for that office. 7:31 headlines time from the Guam Daily Post. There's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Daily Post this morning: the Guam Department of Education submitting its official request to U.S. DOE to remove Guam's school system's high-risk status for the use of federal education funds. Guam DOE has been considered a high-risk recipient for the past 15 years. In a letter to U.S. DOE, Superintendent John Fernandez asked that the constraints and requirements imposed by the feds in excess of what's required from other states be removed now. Fernandez wrote that Guam DOE has made sufficient progress to have the high-risk status removed, along with the third-party fiduciary who has overseen Guam DOE finances for years at a cost of millions of dollars. 5 defendants in what's been described as the largest cocaine bust ever on Guam pleaded not guilty in Superior Court yesterday. John Akfaji Tainatongo, Jonathan Joe Manglonia, Monica Ann Kinata, George Carlos Flores, and Robert John Nefaisen are facing cocaine possession charges. Their next court appearance is set for June 11th. They're accused in connection with the seizure of about 35 pounds of cocaine that Robert Nefaisen claims he found washed ashore near his home in Inarahan several weeks prior to his arrest. Nefaisen told police he had given about 10 pounds of cocaine to Tainatongo, a neighbor, and he claims he gave another 2-pound brick of cocaine to Uggan. A man on felony release in 2 separate cases was charged in Superior Court yesterday on allegations that he helped 2 boys steal a vodka from the Dededo Payless. Court documents say that a witness confronted the boys when they left the store and asked about the 2 vodka bottles concealed inside one of the boys' jackets. The magistrate report states that as the witness reached for the bottles, 18-year-old Darwin J. Fortis attempted to punch the witness but didn't make any contact. Fortis, already on felony release, now facing charges of robbery, criminal facilitation, and retail theft. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
I got you. 7:34, that's iConnect time. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk or mobile plans.
Morrico Equipment, located on Ipoh Road, Tamuning, is a heavy equipment dealership and was established on Guam in 1990. Morrico Equipment is now an employee-owned company. Morrico represents 23 heavy equipment manufacturers and supports those products on Guam with sales, rental, parts, and service. The Morrico Equipment rental fleet now comprises of 200 machines. Morrico also offers an on-site diesel delivery service and Trashco Guam, a roll-off trash container service. If you're interested in joining the Morrico ESOP ownership team, find out more on their website at morricoequipment.com.
Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank, FHB, where it all starts with yes.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
Ray Gibson Show also brought to you by American President Lines. APL is shipping the future.
Stop by any Circle K today and overload your For Real. It's simple. Pick out your favorite For Real shake, blend it, and then mix and match any 2 toppings for only $1. Overload your For Real with a variety of sweet treats like Oreo cookies, gummy bears, classic M&Ms or peanut M&Ms, and Reese's peanut butter cups. Simply add them to your For Real shake for an overload experience and enjoy. For Real Overload, only available at participating Circle Ks. Circle K, take it easy.
Let me check the maps again and see if there's any kind of traffic here. Traffic building in the usual spots. I've got some working now at Route 10 on the way to 8, 10, and 16. But so far, that intersection looks like it's clear. I told you Santos Hill is jammed up a little bit with traffic trying to get up that hill. Any place elsewhere, it's starting to move a little bit thicker up the hill towards Kmart if you're coming in from Tumont. We got a little bit of traffic that's starting to build on Marine Corps Drive southbound in Dededo, making your way down to the central portions of the village. Into Agana shouldn't have too much of a problem, but if you're trying to make your way to Navy Hospital from, say, the Agana Shopping Center, from Government House, expect some delays as traffic is slowing down. 736, that's right now traffic on the point.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Get this talk thing going here. It's the Ray Gibson Show on the point. 888-8255. That's 888-8255. Spending a lot of time with a concept in my head because it's politics and it's 2018 and it's an election year. And if you thought the Democrat primary was going to be interesting, well, I think we've got another level of interesting going on. There's going to be some competition for the office of Congress, which just call it Congresswoman. Yes, we're going to be calling right now, Jim, at the House, because we wanted to give some time for the candidate to express her thoughts on where she's been and where she might be headed this morning. So stand by. We'll see if we can get Doris Brooks on the line to talk about the decision that she made yesterday and what she thinks the prospects are moving forward to become the next Congresswoman. But the hard part is you got to get through Madeline. I asked somebody. How do you beat Madeline Berdallo? And they said, well, she doesn't run. If she doesn't run, that's how you win. That's how you get to Congress, is if Madeline Berdallo does not run. And the running joke that I've got with the Congresswoman is that, and she told me, I used to do a TV show called Good Question. And every once in a while, I'd line up a decent question and line up a decent guest. And I remember asking her once, I said, you know what, why don't you retire and appoint me as your successor? If you appoint me as your successor, then it will be a whole lot easier for me to run for the office. And she said, well, here's the thing. It's kind of already promised this to Tony Babauta, but then Tony ran against her, so it's just back down to me again. But I don't know. She's facing competition in her own party, and now from outside her party. And let me welcome Doris Brooks, former public auditor and now candidate for Congress. Good morning.
Good morning, Ray. Thank you for the call.
Well, thanks so much for giving me something to talk about for a couple of days here.
Well, I'm looking forward to the opportunity. And given my knowledge of Guam's finances, I feel I can better articulate our problems.
Well, I think I heard that in some of the run-up that happened yesterday at the public hearing, the press conference that you had. But before we get into that conversation, let me ask this about the audit that you presented yesterday, because I don't want that to get lost in the shuffle. Tell me about the presentation that you guys did yesterday.
Well, it was really about the focus was our annual report, and the message of my resignation is the annual report. And what I really wanted to do was to present my staff, and it's a mutual thing. A captain is only as good as her crew, and all my crew has changed over the years. I've got my executive officers, the 3 women, as you know, Yuka, Rosalind and Llewellyn, they combined have more than 40 years of experience, and they have really been at the core. And my middle management team, as well as my new team. And, you know, just to show you how time changes, all three of them all started as entry-level auditors and worked their way up. And between the three of them, they have more than 10 certifications. And Ray, their professionalism is recognized worldwide through, you know, our involvement in PASI. Like next week, Robin is going to Uganda. Llewellyn, starting 2 years ago, went to Budapest. Last year, she went to Bangkok. And next month, she's going to go to Nepal because, you know, she's in a project that's being funded by IDI. You know, this is the International Association of PASI, and she's working on a project there, SIZE Fighting Corruption. And, you know, Yuka, after coming back from Tonga, has been invited to go to Brazil. The timing and the date of that's still not, you know, but anyway, they have been they have made OPA what it is today. You know, as I mentioned, a captain is only as good as her crew, and now, you know, it's time for OPA to go in a new direction.
Well, I suppose it will, and I haven't started yet talking to anybody that has expressed any kind of interest. I think this has surprised a number of people in the community, both inside and outside of politics. So I think there might be some people that might be rethinking some of what their political career goals are, even though this should be kind of an apolitical thing. You still got to run for the office. At any rate, so we'll move from that conversation. I'm delighted that you've underscored how important your staff is and how critical that lineage that you leave behind is going to be for the success of the next public auditor.
Thank you. Yeah,
I think that's important.
And it is, and the timing of such is, you know, it's going to take place within the primary election. My druthers, let me just say this, my druthers would rather be that it be a primary and then it goes on to the general. But I don't know, again, you know, that's for the Guam Election Commission and the legislature to decide.
Yeah, I think we're inside the 90 days, so I don't think that'll necessarily be a problem for, you know, when the pop-up election is going to be, the special election is going to be. And I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot of people that will throw their hat in the ring. I was noting in the last election you ran against Doreen Crisostomo, and she might be interested in going back out now that she doesn't have to run against the great Doris Brooks.
Well, anyway, those potential candidates have to decide on their own. Let me also, Ray, before we move on, I just wanted to re-emphasize all those trips that my staff took were not at GovGuam expense. PASI, IDI paid for those trips. So
Important.
I wanted to re-emphasize that.
I appreciate the distinction there. So, tell me about this idea that you've got that you think you can beat Madeline Berdallo.
Well, again, I want to give the people of Guam an opportunity for change. Yes, Madeline has been there and has done a good job, but I think the time is there. The opportunity has presented itself, and I think if the people of Guam have more choices, hopefully I'm going to ask the people of Guam to vote for me.
What else do you think that you can bring to the office? I mean, obviously your knowledge of finances here and the issues that we face on a daily basis that sometimes need more aggressive correction in Washington, D.C. I think those are kind of prominent. But what else do you think you can bring to the congressional office?
Well, let me just say this. There are only 4 CPAs in the entire Congress, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, all male. And if elected, I will be the first in this Congress, the first woman CPA. And so that's going to open opportunities and doors that before were never given to Guam by virtue of my position. But talking about other things, you know, one area that has been very problematic for Guam has been this issue of the Medicare rebasing for the Guam Memorial Hospital.
Yes.
You know, GMHA is only getting a little over $1,000 plus. You know, on the issue that, you know, this was back in 1990, Benita and Peter John have been working for a number of years trying to get that change. what I've determined so far, it appears to be, it might be administrative, whether or not the HHS secretary has the authority. And if he doesn't have the authority, then I would introduce legislation to change that and allow GMH to have a better, a more current Medicare reimbursement rate.
Yeah, that seems to be such a difficult puzzle to sort out, because it seems like you ought to just be able to say, here's some new numbers, and this is what we're currently experiencing on reimbursement, and this is what we believe that we are owed based on our earnings, based on our population, based on where we are.
Another area, let me just talk about, is the compact reimbursement.
Oh, yes.
And GAO, I've looked at the GAO studies. The challenge there is they have some doubts as to the methodology of the data that's being presented, not just in Guam, but throughout, and the methodology hasn't been consistent. And, GAO asked Department of Interior to come up with what should be the appropriate methodology. And, of course, that's my bailiwick. And I would work with our, once that is established, work with our government to ensure that it follows that methodology so that the numbers cannot be challenged.
But my understanding is the methodology also has to be agreed upon by the other jurisdictions. So we got to go up to Saipan, we got to go to California and Hawaii and all these other places where there is impact from the compact migration, and make sure that as we present our numbers, they are in the same form and fashion.
That's right, and that was what the GAO report said. Mm-hmm. The methodology is inconsistent throughout the territories as well as Hawaii.
Well, I'm trying to figure out why we got to do that. Why can't Interior take care of that? Why can't DOJ or somebody take care of that?
That's exactly what the GAO report says.
Yeah.
That Department of Interior has to come up with the guidelines as to what the methodology should be, and then it can be applied to all those seeking compact reimbursement, the territories plus Hawaii.
Yes, yes. A quick question from a Facebook listener, Henry Gonzalez, writes, Doris, what benefits did Guam reap with the trips that your staff took?
They are known as professionals. They're helping rebuild our office. One of the areas is the Psi PMF. I was looking forward to that. That was a total assessment of the office, whereas the peer review focuses strictly on the audits. The Psi PMF, as we call it, the performance measurement framework, focuses entirely on every aspect, from human resource capital to funding to independence, all of that. And the benefit really that they've gotten is that they've become far better auditors overall, looking and seeing how other jurisdictions are doing their audits. They've become some of the facilitators, and that interchange of what's happening in this office versus another office, we bring back the best from all of those to continue to improve OPA.
The idea is that we need a strong and independent public auditor's office. This is something that is desired and very desirous of the taxpayers to make sure.
Yeah, that's why I'm resigning,
Ray. That's why you're resigning?
I'm going from a nonpartisan to a partisan, and I want to continue to leave OPA independent as it should be.
As it should be. And as I said, was among the last bastions of defense for the taxpayer dollar. So there's the compact migration. Still got to have the conversation about EITC and bring the federal government to heel on that.
Gov Guam is currently getting reimbursed for the child tax credit, and that's about $18 to $20 million a year. But we're not getting reimbursed for the earned income tax credit.
Right.
And all the states are enjoying that. Although the state, I know that the states do file their income tax to the federal government, and we file it here to Gov Guam. But hey, the opportunity is there already. If we're already getting child tax credit, why not earn income tax credit?
It feels like they should be coming out of the same identical fund, so what's the difference between Guam and the other states?
That's correct. And, and we're talking in excess of $50 million. And again, I'm not looking for past reimbursement, looking for forward reimbursement.
Oh, it would be nice if we could get some of the past reimbursement, too. We could pay down some of the debts that we have.
Well, again, that's, hey, let's get reimbursed going forward, and then we'll figure the path later on.
It reminds me, remember they were having that conversation about, tell you what, since we're not going to do anything about the compact impact, we'll give you a deal. We'll give you credit against, I don't know, buying Fenna Lake. And I remember looking at that going, no, never mind. Give me money. I want the money. I don't need the lake. Give me the cash. There's a couple of other avenues that the incumbent, and in fact, the incumbents in Congress have been working on for years. We still have issues with veterans and their access to health care here on Guam. Downwinders continues to be not necessarily a back burner, but among some of the priorities that people need to think about, especially with a little bit more attention being paid on Agent Orange and its use here on Guam and the possibility that it has had an effect in the civilian community.
Yes, I do plan to reach out to the veterans community to get a better understanding. I know, for example, the facility up there lacks the number of nurses and doctors. The appointments are very long, and so I want to reach out more to get a better understanding of the issues there, so I can again articulate that better. My son is a veteran from the Iraq Freedom War. And, my husband is, my father is a retiree, so, I understand that and the challenges, that they face with medical help.
The issues that are in front of you and that we have been talking about, like I said, there's not a whole lot of new stuff there. Are there any new issues that you intend to take before Congress?
Well, again, the newest issue is the earned income tax credit. And the other issues that have been there for a long time, are still worth pursuing. The one area that we really need to pay attention to is the H-2B visa. That has really, is stifling growth on Guam. Mm-hmm. And that has to get resolved right away. We need to grow our economy. The private sector, a number of projects have been held in abeyance because of the lack of workers. We need to really, open the doors for growth and opportunity for our people, and that's what a new hotel, expanded hotels are going to do for us. And so many developments have really been stopped, and that H-2B visa is a major challenge for us, and we need to get that resolved sooner. Right away.
There's, if you'd like another topic to take with you, there's got to be more, I think, that the federal government can do to help us with our blossoming drug problem. I'm glad that we've got some guys that are coming out here now from the DEA and the LEAA, if they're still in existence. But the guys that are coming out now, I think we need more of them out here to get into some of the interdiction that we need on drugs. And then the follow-up, the companion to that, actually the companion to the drug story and some of the other problems that we have is I think we've still got some mental health issues that are not getting addressed under whatever we've got and the current resources that we have available to us now.
Oh yes, the drug problem is a challenge here. It's a sad challenge because so many families have been ruined because of that, and yes, that is another area. But one other forgotten area, not a forgotten area, war reparations. Well, the good news is we are getting war reparations. The bad news is it's coming out for our own pocket, our own Section 30. And we want to go back and pursue that. That was a lost opportunity when that was not taken advantage of when it was given to us several years ago. That was a lost opportunity.
No, you're talking about the deal that McCain offered?
Yes, the McCain.
Yeah, well, he's going to be gone by the time you get in there. So hopefully there'll be some different people that we can talk to about resurrecting the idea before everybody that was due war reparations passes on. Before you leave the Office of Public Auditor, are there other projects? Are there some projects and open files on your desk and priorities that you intend to finish?
Yes, we have the health insurance audit. Hopefully we'll be able to release that by tomorrow or Monday at the latest. This is what GovGuam Health Insurance has cost us, and we're going to be releasing that very shortly. We do have a few in progress, but the likelihood of those being released before I leave may not be, but they will be released over time. I know that you and the rest of the team will get those audits out.
I'm kind of curious. I know that Take Care had gone to the OPA and filed a protest based on the RFP for employees and retirees in the government of Guam for their insurance coverage. Is that closed? Have you closed that issue yet?
No, first of all, I had recused myself from that due to, I had received political contributions from all of the health providers, so I recused myself. UCA is taking over that, and I believe the hearing is sometime in June. So that case is going forward, and that will be resolved.
Don't you want to still be at the public auditor's office when this whole deal between Lodi and DFS and the Guam International Airport finally gets resolved?
Again, I've served my time here. That was a very, that was a gut-wrenching challenge for me, but I feel now that I can serve the people of Guam in a different capacity, and I hope and pray and ask the people of Guam to vote for me in that new capacity.
Well, we'll see what happens. As I said, I think it's going to be a challenge for you, the likes that you probably haven't seen since you ran as lieutenant governor all of those years ago. It's tough. You're going up against somebody who, very similar political record as yours, really doesn't have a problem getting votes. I think this is going to be a clash of powerful powerhouse women running for a powerful powerhouse position. I can hardly wait to see what the both of you are going to be bringing to the voters.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to the challenge, Ray. I appreciate it.
I'm sure you will. It's a good thing you got a young and energetic husband to help you set up the tents and fold tables and chairs and do all of that stuff.
I do, and I hopefully the trust and confidence that the people of Guam gave to me will, to some degree, translate, and I understand that, and I look forward to the discussion. Again, I think the people of Guam have an opportunity to hear both sides and have an opportunity for change should they desire it.
Best of luck to you, Doris.
Thank you very much, Ray. And again, I enjoy listening to you on The Point.
Well, and thank you so much for saying so. And I hope that you continue to be a contributor no matter what happens in the election. And just so you know, it's 78 degrees in Washington, D.C. right now. And I think it's they're under some rain clouds.
Okay.
This time of year. Okay, no problem. I'll talk to you soon. Just thought I'd give you the weather forecast for Washington, D.C. You're a weather guy. What's the weather usually like in Washington, D.C. on a regular basis? I don't think it's. I'm told that bitter winters, bitter cold winters, and just stifling summers.
Yeah, continental weather patterns. So cold winters, very hot, muggy summers. Actually, in Washington, D.C., yeah, summers are no joke.
If I remember, the Sister Elaine at Cathedral Grade School would talk to us about her experience in Washington, D.C., and it being so hot there, you could literally cook an egg on the sidewalk. And I'm thinking, wait a second, it gets hot on Guam. How come I can't cook an egg on the sidewalk here? The fact of the matter is, I've never tried.
You can. Oh, absolutely.
I've never. We got a weather forecast we'll do for you in just a little bit. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. When we start talking about issues in Washington, D.C., really, you heard the list. You heard the list. They're not all that different than the same conversations that I've had with Madeline Berdalio every time she's run and been in the office. Just give me an update, and you could rattle off these issues and topics just like that. And not too far off from the same conversations I've had with Robert Underwood when he was a congressman, and not too far off from conversations that I had with Ben Blas in his office in Washington, D.C. once upon a time. The issues don't necessarily change. It's the people that are going to be attaching themselves to those issues. And now we know that in addition to Mike Nicholas, Doris Brooks is now officially a candidate. Well, she's officially resigned her position as public auditor, and I imagine in a little bit she's...
Effective June 8th.
June 8th. Yeah. But then at some point she's going to need to go over to the Guam Election Commission and pick up the petition packets and all of the things that need to be done so that she can run for Congress. And in probably a couple of days, we'll let you know when it's time for you to go to the Guam Election Commission to pick up your petition packets and paperwork so that you can run for the office of public auditor. You know, it's funny. She mentioned a couple of names of some ladies that work over in that office, and at least one of my listeners, Renee, on Facebook Live says, you know, I'd vote for Yuka if she ran for office. You know what? I'd vote for Yuka, too. And I can name probably another 2 or 3 dozen people. Be more than happy to give her all the support she needs. I'm not trying to twist any arms there, Yuka. Just saying. 8 o'clock in the morning or darn close to it. The radio station is KUSG. I got you. We are The Point. Kevin Kerrigan with news from the Guam Daily Post coming up right after we do Fox News Live. That's seconds away from right now.
In the planning stages again, I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A top North Korean official in New York City for meetings with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo ahead of next month's expected summit between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. Fox's Steve Rappaport has this live.
Lisa, Kim Yong-chol is the highest-ranking North Korean official to visit the U.S. in nearly 2 decades. As vice chairman of North Korea's Party Central Committee, Kim is in charge of relations between the two Koreas and has participated in all recent high-level talks with South Korea. Kim's meeting with Secretary Pompeo is the latest sign of a push to revive the summit that President Trump abruptly canceled last week. Meanwhile, a team of U.S. negotiators holding talks with North Korean officials in the DMZ agreed to continue talking for at least one more day. Lisa?
Steve, pushback from the White House after the chair of the House Oversight Committee says there's no evidence of spying during the Trump campaign. Fox's Sharon Halpern live at the White House.
In an interview with Fox News, House Oversight Committee Chairman Trey Gowdy said he's convinced the FBI did exactly what they should have done with the information they had. But White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says there's still cause for concern.
Let's not forget that the deputy director of the FBI was actually fired for misconduct. The president's concerned about the matter, and we're going to continue to follow the issue.
Gowdy is one of the lawmakers briefed last week by law enforcement and intelligence officials about a reported confidential source used during the FBI's Russia investigation. Lisa.
Jared, disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein has been indicted on rape and other charges by a grand jury in New York City. The manhunt is on in Tennessee for the suspect in the shooting death of a sheriff's deputy. 31-year-old Jason Wiggins was identified on video.
We've been working closely with local, state, and federal agencies from across the region and state in pursuit of Wiggins, who is believed to be armed and very dangerous.
Jason Locke with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Fox News, fair and balanced.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time is a-wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
One of the longest-running primary care clinics on Guam, the FHP Health Center, has been your convenient one-stop healthcare clinic for you and your family for many generations. FHP's highly trained and well-known medical, dental, and vision providers and their friendly clinical support team are here, ready to take care of you. In addition to the excellent care, FHP offers a full-service pharmacy, laboratory, radiology, and specialty care center in one location. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic. Most insurance accepted, including Netcare, Aetna, and TRICARE.
The governor of Texas looking to make changes to schools and the court system in the wake of the deadly school shooting at Santa Fe High School.
Shooter alarms and increased security are just some suggestions Texas Governor Greg Abbott wants schools to consider. He also wants courts to more quickly report mental health cases so that guns can't be bought by dangerous people.
To be mentally unfit to have a gun, Texas should require that courts report that mental health adjudication within 48 hours after it is issued, rather than the current 30-day time period to report that adjudication.
The governor adds he would not interfere with rights of law-abiding citizens to own guns. Eben Brown, Fox News.
The suspect in February's massacre at a high school in Florida made cell phone videos announcing his intention to become the next school shooter, saying on the video he intended to kill at least 20 people. The videos of Nicholas Cruz were released today by prosecutors. 17 people were killed in the shooting. Walmart offering its employees a chance to go to college.
America's largest private employer is offering its 1.4 million U.S. employees a new perk, affordable access to a college degree. Walmart teaming up with startup Guild Education to give workers the chance to get a bachelor's degree in business or supply chain management. There are plans to eventually add more types of degrees. It'll cost $1 a day at one of 3 nonprofit universities with online programs, with the retailing giant subsidizing the cost of tuition, books, and fees. This comes as companies face increasing pressure to improve skills of their entry-level workers as jobs get more complicated. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
The estate of Michael Jackson has sued ABC, arguing the special the network aired last week about Jackson's final days used his songs and music videos without permission. The lawsuit seeking unspecified damages. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest steak and cheese, turkey, bacon, and guac, rotisserie-style chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience. But I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway, make it what you want.
Say hello to high-speed data on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. We've just upped your prepaid data, so make your big plans bigger with 1 gigabyte of data per day. Bigger prepaid data for your big plans that just keep getting better. Enjoy high-speed data and unlimited local talk and text on the widest 4G LTE network in the Marianas. Text LTE to 3282. Select a plan and enjoy 1 gigabyte of data per day. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
Rain. It's nature's way of cleansing the earth. Yet by the time that rainwater makes its way to your home, it may not be exactly the same as nature created it. A Connecticut water treatment system can improve the quality of the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home, so you can be sure your water is clear, clean, and fresh, just as nature intended it to be. Connecticut, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech, 649-2301, or email info@americanwatertech.com.
Circle K has just made it easier to select products that are better for you and your healthier lifestyle. When looking for items that are low carb, low sodium, low calories, low sugar, high in antioxidants, or high in protein, just look for the easy-to-spot better for you labels so you can find these items at a glance. Come by and see for yourself. It has never been more convenient to fill up on anything and everything that are better for you. Circle K. Take it easy.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Thursday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Doris Brooks resigning from her position as public auditor to run for the island's lone seat in the U.S. Congress as a Republican. At a news conference yesterday afternoon, Brooks announcing that her knowledge and experience of Guam's finances, she feels she can better articulate Guam's problems in Congress. She said one of her priorities would be to focus on getting federal reimbursement for Guam's payment of the Earned Income Tax Credit, which Guam taxpayers now have to pay. Brooks said her resignation becomes effective on June 8th. And Guam Election Commission Executive Director Maria Pangilinan telling the Post that she is seeking legal advice on whether a public auditor's race can be included in the August primary ballot. Guam election law says that when more than 6 months remain in a public auditor's term, a special election has to be held no more than 90 days after the vacancy occurs. In reaction to the Brooks announcement, her rivals in the Democratic camp have issued statements welcoming her to the race. Incumbent Delegate Madeline Bordallo pointed out in her written statement that Brooks would leave her term as public auditor unfinished, while Bordallo said she would continue to fulfill her commitment to Guam and fight for the island's issues at every level of the federal government. And Senator Michael San Nicolas, who is challenging Bordallo in the Democratic primary, wrote that Guam is grateful for the 16 and 18 years of service that both of these fine women have given to Guam. But he said this is a season of change, and it's time for a new frontier for Guam and her people. We'll have more news after this.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you.
Are you a veteran or on active duty looking for a home loan and VA eligible? Then Bank Pacific stores are open to you, where we are a VA approved preferred lender. That simply means we can give you faster credit approvals and loan closing. And with today's super low rates, you just can't go wrong. Bank Pacific's My VA Loan, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply. Viva Bank Pacific.
10 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. Delegate Madeline Bordallo spoke to the Guam Chamber of Commerce yesterday. She told chamber members that she's optimistic the Senate will pass the National Defense Authorization Act, recently approved by the House. The NDAA includes $377 million in military construction spending for Guam. She also said the NDAA extends the federal H-2B visa cap exemption for Guam until 2020, and it includes language that would require that the Navy conduct its repairs in American shipyards, including here on Guam, rather than going to foreign shipyards. Bordallo is a member of the conference committee that is working to reconcile any differences between the House and Senate versions of the NDAA. Senator Fernando Esteves has introduced a piece of legislation that would allow transgender individuals to legally change their gender marker on their birth certificates. Bill 291 would authorize the Office of Vital Statistics on Guam to amend an individual's gender on the birth certificate to the gender that the person identifies with. Esteves said the bill would allow transgender individuals a path to legal recognition of their gender identity. Under the measure, an individual may file a petition in court if they are at least 18 years old. The petition has to include a reason for the change from a certified psychologist, social worker, or therapist affirming the applicant's request. No proof of surgical condition is required. Many states have adopted similar legislation, and some states also require proof of a surgical procedure to allow the change. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with some weather.
Where'd I put it this time? I'm just kidding. I've got it in front of me. That's a joke that goes back to the first few minutes of the program. Kevin threw the weather, and I had no idea where the paper was. So now I have two because I found it. I digress.
Did I write it the same way the second time?
Partly sunny and hazy with isolated showers. So far, so good. East winds 15 to 20 miles an hour. So far, so good. Decreasing after sunset. Highs around 88. Overnight lows about 78. Yes, word for word.
Wow, I made it up really nice.
Absolutely perfect. 6:44 for sunset tonight. For those of you that need to go and check out the big sun that we had last night, maybe it'll pop up again tonight. 5:52 or so for sunrise tomorrow morning. News and weather together right here on The Point.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There's so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
Stop pointing at me like I'm supposed to read something. Oh, I am supposed to read something. King's Restaurant is serving local lunch favorites Monday through Friday. Today is one of those days in between Monday through Friday. It's Thursday, and that means that we're going to eat meatloaf for lunch at King's today. Tomorrow is Friday, so it's beef tenactac. And you know, sometimes it's hard to choose. Some of you going, you know what, I know it's Thursday and I know it's meatloaf, but I really would like to see if I can get my hands on some of this beef tenactac that people are raving about. So they pick 2 or pick 3 combos. Check it out at lunch today at King's.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dedito 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
I love those folks there. Security Title brings you portions of the program, providing solutions for complex real estate transactions.
Chili's Smokehouse menu just got tastier with their new smoked honey chipotle short ribs, marinated and smoked for hours. Try the smoked honey chipotle short ribs and chicken combo, or enjoy the family combo with mouth-watering honey chipotle short ribs, Texas-sized baby back ribs, crispy chicken, and juicy barbecue chicken served with home-style French fries and corn on the cob. It's the Chili's Smokehouse menu, now with smoked honey chipotle short ribs, available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
Ray Gibson brings you closer to the action. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
We're just going over some pronunciation of some names on the IIAG thing, because it's the only time we'll ever read them on the radio, so we want to make sure we get them right. You know, unless they're marred, unless they're like embroiled in some kind of a controversy, right? That would be cool.
Which hopefully the IIAG never finds himself in a controversy, being, you know, a governing body of the high school and middle school athletic.
I'd put Troy there.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd put Troy in there, and then we could embroil it in some kind of a controversy.
They should. I'm telling you, I'm still campaigning. I want to make IIAG great again. So put me in there. I'll be the president, and we'll run it.
That's a lot of initials.
I know.
Yeah. Well, how do you
MAGA
get on
IIAG?
How do you get on it?
You have to be an AD, so I got to go back to school, get my degree in education,
right?
Get into the DOE system,
you
get
and I know
hired.
People, look at you and I know people have got done that stuff. It didn't look hard.
It's easier to be a senator, I think, than it is to be the IIAG president.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
But
not for lack of trying. I've tried.
Okay. So here's the thing. You want to influence, but you don't want to go through the trouble, right?
Right.
Okay. So get my nephew on.
Okay. That's it. All right.
He's got all the credentials that you just identified.
It'd be my proxy.
That's it.
Right, that's how you use proxy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just make sure I use that right.
Good word. Thank you so much. Hey, it's 8:16. You know what that means? It's time for Sports with Blake.
I like that.
Your phone is talking to you.
Mine?
It's not mine.
Not mine. Maybe Kevin's? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Did somebody say, okay, Google?
I know, right?
My bad.
Might have. I don't know what it was, but there's something talking here. And
you know what
okay,
I think what it was? I think it was a tab in my window. It was just some kind of. I found it.
Happy it was a clean tab.
It was me too. It was the New York Post talking about the fire at Citi Field.
The what? The where?
The fire at Citi Field. The Mets are heating up. They're having a terrible season, but 60 firefighters rushed to Citi Field yesterday after flames erupted in a display case in the rotunda near the parking garage. The case caught fire around 3:45 p.m., officials say, but sprinklers were automatically activated. The flames were extinguished before FDNY even arrived. The cause is under investigation of the case that caught on fire. The Mets are currently on a road trip in Hotlanta, so they weren't there when it happened. But interesting. It's very, very rarely anything spontaneously just combusts, especially in a display case in a baseball stadium. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of flammable things in it.
It sounds like something that should be on coast to coast in the middle of the night or something like that. Anyway, so just a quick note for motorists. I'm not sure why, but at the old UIU intersection where the pizza place is on EPAL Road, headed towards Talaverde Drive, looks like I've got a little bit of a slowdown there. Not sure what it is. 888-8255 if you're at the front of that, or know why traffic might be slow over by Mammoth Street in that area in Tamuning. Okay, so there was basketball was over yesterday, right?
No, today. The finals? NBA finals?
Yeah.
Yeah, that starts today. You're right? Yesterday was the day
the
off.
finals, yeah.
The
Warriors and the Cavs.
So they wrapped up the conference finals at the beginning of the week, and then and so we were our final four. Cavs beat out whoever
Celtics.
Celtics, and then the Warriors beat out the Rockets. I don't know what happened there, and so now they will face each other for the fourth time in the finals, and they took a day or two off for travel, which they have this week, and now game one will start today, I believe. Let me do my conversion chart for tomorrow's standard time.
I say Warriors in 5.
I want to know who John Fernandez is going for. He just signed into the Facebook Live.
I'm gonna guess Cleveland. He strikes me as a LeBron fan. Does John Fernandez?
Come on, John.
I don't know. That's just my guess.
Just type something, anything, John. Just type something into your phone, into your Facebook.
Those bandwagon Warriors fans, they're a dime a dozen these days.
I'm on that bandwagon this year. I'm just going against LeBron. That's really that's really what my rhyme and reason for that. So
I'll
tomorrow
be against
morning,
LeBron until he comes to place for the Rockets.
I
next
don't
year.
bet against him, but I just root against him.
Like I say, he's dragging 4 corpses behind him to this finals.
To the finals,
No chance.
11 a.m. tomorrow morning, guys.
See, I like the way you put that. It's just that is so good. It's like, okay, I'm the star, and that's it. Everybody else is just here to.
That's pretty much the way it is.
And I know Ray's about to screensaver mode once I say this. But did you know off the court, I think there's something like plus 12, and then like differential, like point differential, and then when he's off the court, there's something like minus 9.
Yeah, no, it's
just having him on there.
Yeah, and there's and something that Texans star J.J. Watt tweeted a few days ago, and I have to agree with it. Considering the expectations for LeBron when he came in, and he's pretty much met them. I mean, you've got to go with him being as one of the greatest athletes of all time, just based on his performance.
No, yeah, love him or hate him. I mean, we've never seen anything like it.
I mean, never mind his attitude or anything.
Yeah. No. We've never seen a physical. I mean, like that, and a lot of people nationally, things I hear on podcasts or sports or ESPN or whatever, they're all calling him basically Bird, Jordan, and. I was
adjusting because now you're right. I've gone into screensaver mode. It's just you now.
Bird, Jordan, and Magic. He can shoot.
Yeah.
He can command and can lead like Jordan. He can pass like Magic. He can shoot like Bird. And on top of that, he's 6'8", 240.
Yeah, he can play defense when he's inclined to. So yeah,
Sonny Cruz says it's not today. Sonny's saying
tomorrow.
He says you got to do your homework. He says so. It's not today.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I said tomorrow morning 11.
Okay.
Yeah, game 1 tips off tomorrow morning 11 a.m. I thought it was today because I keep thinking today's Friday. Tomorrow's Friday. That's when the game starts.
Where'd you go last night? Sometimes if you're having a good time someplace,
and
all of a sudden the week gets short.
I did just that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Add days to the week.
Let's just say there was a fiesta spread and some of the bubbly that was
Were
all.
there, were there wings?
There were no. Yeah, yes, there were wings. There was also crab.
Oh.
Oh, and the rare. Of course, it was the smallest thing, so I got in and I got half of it. But they had the beef Kelowin on the buffet line, so I was like, "Y'all just leaving this out here for anybody?" I'll take that.
So what we got to do is we got to have old-fashioned clam bake, right? We'll find my bro Raph and have Raph do this soup, and then we go and who here has really good relationship with like a food distributor?
Distributor?
Yeah, like
didn't we Triple J? No, they distribute some food.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. And we could call up Chris and say,
call up Chris.
So this is what we want. We want these massive, big as your feet, Dungeness crabs, right? And you cut them up and you stick them in a pot and you boil until they're cooked. But you got to do something with the marination on the inside. What I'm saying, we need to have a seafood bake.
Well, you throw some Old Bay seasoning in there, then you got to get some of the boil in a bag. The boil in the bag that people throw in with their crawfish. You got to throw some of that in there.
You remind me,
potatoes.
But you know where they have a really good one? The Samurai over in the Fiesta. You know the place?
I do know the place.
They have because they
teppanyaki.
Yeah, it's teppanyaki. Is mostly most people know them as a teppanyaki place from back in the olden days, right? But they have in the last couple of years put together a kind of a seafood menu, and I want to say it's $45 a head, and you might get a couple of beers with it.
Okay.
At least that's my recollection. But they will come to your table. They will come and pour out about 30 pounds worth of seafood in front of you.
Wow.
And it just
there's a place.
And there's just napkins all over and we get to crab parts and shells.
I haven't been there in a couple years, but I know that they're still around. And down there in Delmonico, down in Tumon, I know they had a big on their menu. They had a big like crab pot boil. Like they came and
exactly.
It's just a huge thing of foil on a plate, and when you open it up, it just poof, and it's just crab and seafood. I mean, all kinds of good stuff in there. It's a crab boil on a plate.
I'm hungry for that all of a sudden, and I'm not sure why. 8:23 in the morning, and I know that there's going to be baseball tonight, notwithstanding any weather issues. Thursday, it's Donya versus Jigo in the GML.
Yes, Donya's undefeated, right? Is that 1-0? 1-0, and then Jigo 1-1.
Yeah.
So, they'll meet in the middle at Paseo, and first pitch usually flies around 7. So if anybody wants to check it out, I'm not sure if we're all going to be there. We haven't really finalized that between.
Is there seafood? Can we have a clam bake or something like that?
Have a clam bake out in the outfield. But either way, we'll have that to report on you for tomorrow. I wanted to bring this to you two because we missed it, and I didn't, and I learned something whilst I was gone.
Yes.
John Wayne's birthday was on the 26th. HD Movie Net, which I subscribe to on the HD package, they ran. His son Ethan hosted a whole weekend-long movie John Wayne marathon. All the John Wayne movies.
So, see, my old man would have been he would have just watched the whole thing.
And yeah, just don't leave the house for 3 days. And mind you, it was over Memorial Day weekend, so it was perfect timing. And I went and watched on my own a documentary about John Wayne, and I did not know. So he moved from Iowa as a teenager to California. He kind of sprouted up because he was a quiet kid, kind of kept to himself. He sprouted up to be like 6'4", like 200 pounds when he was like in high school. So he found work on the MGM or the Columbia or the Touchstone lot, one of that, as a prop boy. And then he, from there, he was discovered by some scouts by his size, and he also played football in high school. And so that's how he got to USC. And he played. He was a standout athlete at the University of Southern California, and most people don't realize that. But John Wayne was a great athlete, and I never knew that. So nice little sports tie for the Duke.
You and I share some of the same news resources here, so I'm going to ask you not to holler out the answer because I want to see if Mike and Kevin can answer this question. What state drinks the most beer?
Wisconsin.
Try again.
I actually don't know this, but I'm going to guess. Go ahead, Kevin.
Florida.
I'm going to go the most downtrodden state that there is. Give me Ohio, Ray.
According to data pulled together by Wall Street Journal, New Hampshire surpasses all other states in terms of the gallons of beer consumed per capita. Yeah, tap the dashboard. Tap the desk if you said New Hampshire. Look at
how about that? I spent a long
tap
weekend.
the desk if you forgot New Hampshire was a state.
They have long winters.
Anybody know the capital?
It's like when Abe Vigoda finally died, people said, I thought he was dead already.
I know Vermont's Montpelier.
Concord?
Concord, New Hampshire. Yeah. Exactly right. There you go.
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Is it Vermont or New Hampshire that houses Ben and Jerry's? One of those is where Ben and Jerry's.
Oh, I couldn't tell
Vermont.
you.
I think it's Vermont, right?
Each resident of New Hampshire, according to the story, drinks on average 40.6 gallons of beer per year, which is more than twice as much as the 18.7 gallons consumed by the people in Utah, the state that drinks the least amount of beer. Utah drinks, well, I guess that makes sense.
Right?
Yeah, Mormons there.
Mormons.
Yeah, they're big on methamphetamine and heroin, but no to beer.
Yeah. That's easier to cook up in the desert, I guess. Yeah. If you learned anything from Breaking Bad, you can cook meth in the desert.
Well, look, beer's a diuretic. It'll dehydrate you in the desert. That's true. Come on.
That's science. Yeah, science, man.
40.6 gallons of beer. I gotta do the mathematics here.
How does that? Because if you think about like California and you think about Texas and you think about even like I don't know, heavily populated Illinois and all.
Keep talking for a second because
how are there enough people? You must have like less people drinking way more beer.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it comes down to. Yeah.
Because like if they can't beat out, if Texas and all these other states would have strength in numbers, can't beat out little small New Hampshire in drinking. Like you're telling me New Hampshire drink anybody under the table as far as states go?
Yeah, what they're doing, taking the quantity consumed divided by the population, and their population is not really.
Yeah, so like South Dakota, Idaho, and New Hampshire walking to the bar, and New Hampshire outdrinks everybody.
I don't know. It's been a long weekend at the University of New Hampshire one night.
One
night.
If you learn anything from their commercials,
took me weeks to recover.
You know what intrigues me about the University of New Hampshire is that if you can't show up to graduation, they'll just come to you and just bring you your diploma wherever it is you're at. Nice. They got a traveling bus. They're just like, hey, here's your diploma.
Well, everything's within 50 miles of this state
right, so
center.
Here's the quick mathematics on this. So it's 40.6 gallons of beer per year. Mm-hmm. There are about 10 cans of beer in a gallon. And 40 gallons a year. Mm-hmm. So that's 400 cans of beer. For the average consumption in New Hampshire is 400 cans of beer a year. What is that? 1.5 a day?
About 1.2 something per
day.
Yeah.
We could totally
about right.
we could totally kick New Hampshire's ass.
We already do.
I think just in this room.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, my refrigerator is beating New Hampshire right
just
now.
Last weekend. We need to shoot for something here, guys, and I think we found it. We just got to tell the Wall Street Journal, hey, you forgot to check Guam on this thing here, because I think that between me and a bunch of my friends, I'm almost positive. I mean, we can even beat the average here. I bet we're way over on the median here.
Oh, absolutely. I would.
Great.
Yes.
So I'm inspired now. All right. Anyway, it's look at the time.
A keg is equivalent to 7 cases of beer.
Okay,
it's 168 beers. You give 3 beers apiece.
The 4 of us could do a
$2
keg
a head.
in one night.
Younger people only going to drink a beer, maybe a beer and a half.
I'm sorry, the people of New Hampshire, I'm not impressed. It's 8:30 in the morning, would you believe it? And time to send Blake Watson back over to Star 101 so he can take care of sports. And we've got headlines with Kevin Kerrigan coming up in a second.
Don't wait another day and waste another dollar. You can start saving today. At Guahan Insurance Services, we are here to help protect your investment and save you money. We offer insurance advising for business, car, and home insurance. So come and visit us at our new office at Camacho Landmark Center at Marine Corps Drive in Timoning, and let us show you that you can count on us for all your insurance needs. Call 475-1162.
That's funny. On the Facebook Live, Ismail Valise says the Guam Masters basketball team totally beats New Hampshire on this. Yeah, and the takeaway there was poor New Hampshire. Nobody guesses New Hampshire for anything. They could be number 1 in any 20 other things, but nobody would ever pick them because you just kind of forget about New Hampshire. Really, it's a state. How about that? Whatever happened to Old Hampshire? 8:31. In time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post, here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, at a change of plea hearing in Superior Court yesterday, Karina Lynn Blas Jr. admitting to her role in a conspiracy to smuggle contraband into the Department of Corrections. She agreed to cooperate with the government in exchange for a lenient sentence. Jr. admitting that she placed a contraband package in a men's restroom stall at Guam Memorial Hospital in October last year. The package contained 2 cell phones and a charger. She pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to promote prison contraband and 1 count of possessing a controlled substance. Tau has been in jail since her arrest. She could receive an additional 11 months in prison. Judge Vern Paris yesterday delayed her sentencing hearing until July 26, pending her cooperation with the government in its prosecution of the other defendants. A couple who got off on federal drug charges due to a hung jury this week is scheduled to appear back in court in July for a new trial. District Court Chief Judge Francis Tadinko Gatewood declaring a mistrial after the jury said they were unable to reach a unanimous verdict. The court set a tentative July 5th retrial date, but said it could be pushed back until October, depending upon whether additional motions are filed in the coming days. Raymond Martinez and Juanita Mosier, accused of conspiring to bring 8 pounds of methamphetamine from California to Guam. They pleaded not guilty and accused law enforcement of entrapment and planting evidence. Speaker Benjamin Cruz introducing a bill that would more than double the passenger arrival fee to provide additional funding to help stem the flow of drugs into the island. Bill 293 seeks to raise the visitor arrival fee from $8.29 now to $20 effective on October 1st. The speaker said that ice and cocaine are tearing the island community apart. The additional income, he said, would allow Guam Customs to hire more officers to fortify our borders and prevent drug-related crimes before they start. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Hey, before you go, a couple of things that I've gotten from social media. And social media is about the best thing to happen to radio and talk radio since Doug Moylan. And one of them actually has to do with Doug Moylan. I've got from an unnamed source, so probably the same unnamed guy that Dennis Rodriguez uses. But anyway, so I got an unnamed source who indicates that my personal dream of seeing Doug Moylan in the Attorney General's office may be coming true. I'm told that a packet has been picked up for him at the Guam Election Commission.
You called it.
I'm so happy. I just, we could sleep in. We could totally say just roll in here.
Turn the show over to him.
We just come in about 5:59 and just pick up the post and see what Doug Moylan said yesterday. You could riff on that for 4 solid hours. I used to do it all the time. And then you get him on the radio, and then you get the people that he's ticking off on the radio. It's beautiful.
Let's make a call.
It's ratings gold. Doug Moylan is the Donald Trump of Guam. Anyway, so there's that one. But this might also be interesting. There's an addition now to the conversation about the University of Guam's search for their president, the guy that's going to replace Uncle Robert.
What's new?
There is now a petition at change.org that I believe Anita Arile has posted, and on its way within just a few signatures of its goal of 500. And what they're asking is to call on the legislative oversight chair of education, as well as the Board of Regents, to number one, halt the current hiring process, including the scheduled visits by the candidates. I don't know why we'd spend money on that. Right? You want a copy of this? And to convene a legislative oversight hearing to examine and reform the process to improve transparency and ensure compliance with 16110B1 of Title 16, Chapter 16, Guam Code Annotated. And I think that's the part that says that whoever it is that's going to be doing this has to have a deep knowledge, respect, and love for the people of Guam and the region, as the charter says.
It already says that, right?
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out how we got 3 knuckleheads that nobody ever heard of, that nobody's ever seen, that don't seem to have any real knowledge of what goes on around here to apply for that job. I'm on the Change.org website anyway. I'll tell you about some of the other crazy things that they're asking for about Guam on Change.org in just a second. It's 8:36. I'll be right back. Oh, wait a minute. iConnect time, and they want you to connect longer for less with their push-to-talk and mobile plans.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for 0 money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
The Ray Gibson Show on The Point is brought to you by APL, that's American President Lines, shipping the future.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Maybe it was a Sus Tidingfong that not Anita. Maybe I just got the second post from Anita. It was this, Sus Tidingfong needs your help with University of Guam halt UOG president selection. So sign the petition and then forward it around on Facebook. But this is interesting because there's a little headline that pops up that says, "Today, Jesus is counting on you." You know, I'm always looking for signs, guys. Always looking for signs. I think I just found one there. All right, right now, traffic, that mess on EPAL Road looks like it's all cleared up, and it doesn't look like there's anything that is going to be slowing you down on any of the major roadways that we have got on the traffic gizmo today. Looking at everything north and south, central Lagana, downtown Tamuning, everything looks all right. A little bit more than usual cars on the road, but they're all going at 75 miles an hour in reverse, which is cool. It's 8:38. That's right now traffic on The Point.
Smoky Mountain Barbecue.
Howdy, folks. Can't get enough of my KFC Smoky Mountain Barbecue? I'm bringing more to Guam this month with my new KFC Smoky Mountain Grilled Barbecue Chicken. KFC's chicken coated with a sweet and smoky barbecue sauce. Oh, and by the way, Smoky Mountain Barbecue is still available on KFC's Extra Crispy Chicken and Boneless Strips. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Interesting only to me. I found what I was looking for. I have a craving every once in a while for a particular kind of meal. And it's reminiscent of something that my grandfather used to cook when I was growing up, just a little kid. He'd go and he'd get this meat. I forget what it was. It's real salty meat, I recall. Dried beef, and it cut real thin slices on it, and then he'd make it with white gravy. And I know what you're thinking. Whatever you're thinking, if it's SOS, yeah, that's what I like. And it's a taste that I have, and Stouffer's makes a very good kind of boil-in-a-bag microwavable thing. And I finally found some at Island Fresh. I was doing some shopping there the other day, and I found 3. They had 3 in the frozen section, and I bought all 3. And I had one yesterday, except I didn't have any toast bread to eat it with. But I had the Japanese ship biscuits, and it was just as good. Yes. So I'm just saying, every once in a while I get a craving for something. I don't know that it's the healthiest thing that I can put in my mouth, but it tastes good. And that's all there is to that. Just thought I'd share that with you. That doesn't mean anything. It won't amount to a hill of beans anywhere. It's just something that's in my head. So go to change.org, Kevin, and everybody else, and take a look at a petition that has been posted there, which calls on the legislature to get involved in this process of finding somebody to run the University of Guam. Halt the current hiring process, including the scheduled visits, then convene a legislative oversight hearing to examine and reform the process to improve transparency and ensure compliance. There is a couple of other people that I found on the social media that have asked that question as well. When will the students be asked what they think? So we got the search committee, and then there's the Board of Regents, and they're going to have to make a decision one way or the other. And do they decide based on the 3 that we are aware of, or do they take a look at all of the candidates again and go back to the selection committee and say, we're simply not satisfied? We get it, you spent some money on it, and everybody's kind of married to their mistakes, so but we don't have to live with the choices that you have made, because after all, end of the day, we're still the Regents. The petition even includes a word or two about from Mr. William Leon Guerrero. I used to ride the elevator with him at the Bang of Guam. And he stated, while none of the finalists have Chamorro heritage or have resided on Guam, the UOG Presidential Search Committee is confident that all of the finalists possess the necessary experience, skills, and traits to learn fast, adapt, and work in a unique place like Guam. However, the public has lost confidence in the search committee's ability to select candidates who have substantiated experience that indicates familiarity with or an interest in Guam and the broader region, its people, or the particular historical and contemporary issues that affect us in real and physical ways. Finally, a period. While the 3 final candidates may be qualified in terms of management and administrative experience, they, unlike the other highly qualified candidates that sought the position, will be inhibited because they do not possess a demonstrated understanding of Guam, Micronesia, and the broader region. I couldn't have said it myself. I couldn't have said it better myself. I agree, and I, personally, Ray Gibson, has signed the petition because I like the idea. It's also good for talk radio. To find out to what degree. So you got to be careful. I will say this, guys. You got to be careful. Are you sure you want the legislature to get involved? Are you absolutely positive that you want them to get involved with this? Yeah, see? Don't wish to. It's like all the people that said, hey, I wish we had jet airplanes that will take me from Guam to Saipan. That will be awesome. And guess what? Tomorrow, you're going to have jet air service. United is going to start flying a 737 between Guam and Saipan, which is in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. Maybe you've heard of it. And that's going to be a very interesting kind of thing that they're going to be doing because it's only going once a day, my friends. You heard me right. It's only going one time per day, which means that you're going to get on an airplane in the morning, you'll arrive in Saipan, and I'm not going to say you're stuck there. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to tell you, but the next time that you want to come back to Guam is tomorrow. It's not later in the afternoon. It's not going to be tonight. It will be tomorrow morning. And they'll pick everybody up at the Saipan airport, stick you on the same plane, and bring you back down to Guam and pick up another batch of folks going up there. And the question that I have is, where are you going to stay when you get there? I've had the happy occasion, to have gone up to Saipan in the midst of kind of a crazy set of times with their tourism. And I think there was a convention, and I know that there was a marathon, so there were a whole lot of extra people in Saipan the last time I was there. And I waited till the last minute because I go, hey, I'm Ray Gibson. I know people up in Saipan. And guess what? Everybody that I knew up in Saipan didn't have a spare couch for me to lay down on. And I said, that's okay, because I know people in the hotel business up in Saipan, because they pretend I'm a big shot, right? And I called my friends in the hotel industry up in Saipan, and they said, we're full. And I said, dude, you got to have something. There's got to be something. And the guy says, you know what? There is, and it's kind of a part of the hotel and not really at Shirley's in Saipan, on Middle Road. And I forget the name of the hotel, but it's affiliated with the Fiesta. So you go and you got a hotel and you got someplace to eat breakfast at down there in the morning, and the hotel is upstairs, a set of stairs, reception downstairs, and then you go upstairs to where the rooms are. But they're little known. There is a hotel room in between Shirley's and the bar in the back of that hotel. And when I call it a hotel room, I'm very, very generous with the term hotel room, because it's basically a room with a bathroom and someplace to look at yourself in the mirror and a bed. That was it. And I'm fond of telling people I got a chance to stay in the last hotel room that was available in the CNMI for that trip. So I'm just saying, so once a day is going to be the deal with the airplanes going up to Saipan. You have to be careful what you wish for. And you're going, but maybe Cape Air is still going to fly. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. I have not yet heard of the final deliberation on that. Speaking of final deliberations, hoping now to get to the final deliberations, the final hours of the third-party fiduciary agent watching the federal spend for the Department of Education. I'm delighted to be holding a press release that went out from the Department of Education and the Office of the Superintendent that said he is requesting the U.S. DOE's reconsideration of special conditions and requirements for the third-party fiduciary agent. We touched on this the last time I got a chance to talk with Mark Mendiola and John Fernandez simultaneously, because they were in Washington, D.C., laying the groundwork for this official request. I've got Mark Mendiola, what is your commissioner of the the Ed Board. There we go. Chairman of the Ed Board. Good morning, Mark. How you doing?
Hey, good morning. Ring off the day.
Who are you going for in the NFL, in NFLC? I can't even tell you what sport it is. NBA Finals.
Like I said, man, Michael Jordan left the game. I don't really care after that.
Now that he's out, it's just another thing. It's just another sport I don't have to pay attention to, right? Like golf.
Yeah, I'm into golf. Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, who are you watching on golf these days? Who's exciting? I mean, Tiger seems to be trying to swing back into the championship light.
Yeah, you're just watching him play, but going out on the course myself and just getting some good exercise out there, trying to learn the game and be better at it.
Why?
When you're going up against guys like Teddy Gogui and all those other guys.
And anybody rageous, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I know what you mean. So in 1988, I took up the game of golf, and in 1989, I went back to bowling.
You should hang out sometime.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's a day out in the sunshine with your best friends and beer, right?
Right.
But the problem is they stop being your best friends when they realize that you're going to be on in 10 and down in 5, in the cup in 5, right? And this is every hole. This is the par 3s and the par 5s.
Yeah.
So they, after a while, Mark, they just stop calling.
Right.
Well, we get the 75-year-old Korean ladies that are asking us to move a little bit faster through the course.
Well, right, there's something to be said for consistency. So.
I suppose so. So if you're at that level, let's go golf. I'll go with you, and I'll drive the cart, and I'll watch you shoot, but I won't do it myself. Anyway, so it's congratulations. I know that while the press release comes from the superintendent's office, I know there's something that the both of you have worked on together.
Yeah, we're really, I got to give credit to the superintendent and his team. They really put forth a great, plan on responses to our federal partners. And, Frank Cooperner's over at our internal audit office, of course, Towing, all the folks there that have led us to this point. And I told the superintendent when I first came on board, we brought him back. I said this needs to be resolved as quickly as possible. And so been on the board for about a year and a half and just try to understand it completely.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to really save the government of Guam some money, but also it's going to allow us to, improve our relationship and get more federal funding for our ed programs.
The end goal, because it's resources now that we shouldn't need to continue to be spending, and it will also lay the groundwork for perhaps an additional spend from the federal government. So we'd be able to use the money that we're currently spending now. So there's, we can spend up that resource, and it might make it so that we could throw some more money from the federal government into the Department of Education. So I like the strategy. I like the thinking. I've got my fingers crossed that everything will work out for you. What's the timeline? What do you suspect the timeline might be on something like this?
Well, our hope. Well, there's not that many. Through this process, I found out that there's not that many folks that ever gone through this third party.
Not much precedent.
It's the Virgin Islands and ourselves that's in it, and we're basically setting, I guess teaching ourselves and also teaching US DOE and how to get out of this situation because. But this is really important. It's been over many years that, and finally we've wrapped ourselves around it and we're able to respond accordingly. But I do say that my goal at least is, when I told John that we need to fire this letter off right away, was to have them come out and validate all that we are claiming that we have done to address their issues. And we asked Congresswoman Bergalia to assist us, the governor's office, and also the legislature. So there's that one Guam approach. And I tell you, the response we got, now they know we're really serious about getting ourselves off of this. So I hope that probably in July we'll get a response letter. That's the usual time they would respond to us about our high-risk status. And hopefully we'll have some positive news then. Once that occurs, and the ball will start rolling, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be possibly sending out some folks to Guam to validate, a lot of the issues that they've highlighted. But I got to say that we got to build capacity within our department because once the third party is out of there, we got to make sure that we don't revert back. So we are in our budget discussion talks, and this is one of the priorities to really build a robust internal process so that we don't revert back. And honestly, to say, I think we have it already. I think we just need to formalize it and put it down as a permanent. I mean, there's about $60 to $70 million annually that we get from the federal government, and there's going to be a lot more coming if we're able to, continue to put these internal mechanisms in place.
Yeah, I hear the point, and it's an important one here. Is we don't want to put ourselves back in a position where we might need to bring that third-party fiduciary agent, and because now we are just at the point where we're putting together our official request for that review. That may be one of the questions that they're going to be asking. What mechanisms are you going to put in place to prevent any kind of backsliding in the future?
Well, yeah, and I think that's the key component is the sustainability to ensure that we don't revert back to it. There was like 5 conditions that they put on, and we don't no longer consider them special. We're saying that treat us just like any other jurisdiction in the United States, and you'll see that we've met it. We have clean audits. We actually have a tracking system now for all federal assets. So we're,
well, and the system is a lot more stable. Let me touch on this point here, and I put a lot of credit on John Fernandez as the superintendent of the Department of Education. Of course, he's had his issues with the Ed Board, but I think given the relationship that both of you have with each other and the desire to move the Department of Education to the next level, I think guys like Phil Maestri, who has watched this develop over the last 15 years. I mean, I've been saying his name out loud on the radio since forever, and we'll take you back to conversations where Phil Maestre was looking to find out who on Guam is actually in charge of the Department of Education. That was a question that he actually had to ask out loud of the Attorney General. To figure out who it was that he was supposed to be talking to on a going forward basis, and the answer was the Ed Board, not the governor's office. By the way, and so he's watched from from very rocky beginnings of our current education scenario. He's watched that develop to a point where we no longer have an antagonistic relationship between the governor's office, between the Department of Education, and the Ed Board, which speaks volumes for us, I think.
Yeah, we grew up. I got to thank the governor too for allowing me the opportunity to serve. I do know that when I went to Washington, D.C., we communicated with our congresswoman, and we were able to set up high-level meetings. And we met with the Secretary of Ed and the deputy, and Phil Maestre, the name you mentioned. And, in the meeting, and John probably would attest to this, that, he said he was glad to see that, that we've come a long ways and the board has kind of stepped up and now is taking control and looking at, and ways in which we can improve rather than being antagonistic towards each other. And so I think that, it's just the stars are aligned now, and now we just got to execute and, get ourselves off this so that we can move forward.
Okay, speaking of moving forward, as far as I know, both Republicans and Democrats have picked up packets for you at the Guam Election Commission. Are you doing anything with that?
Man, you know what? After talking to my wife, I have 5 children in the public school system, and so unfortunately at this time it's just not going to work for me and my family. So there's just some things that I need to take care of before I'm able to. I want to be able to secure my children's future.
Well, have you ever thought about it? We've all thought about it, right? At least one point, in the middle of a Sunday where you're doing a little bit more than observing your belly button, thinking, I'd probably be a real good senator. And then you start thinking about, well, I'd have to run and I'd have to campaign and I'd have to show up at all this stuff. I'd have to go to funerals every week.
Yeah. I just like helping. I love to just be involved and just really try to help out. So, if it ever arises in the future, I'm pretty sure I'll think about it. I did think about it, talk to my family, talk to a lot of the folks that I consider my, advisors, and it's just, at this point in time, I'm just in my career and I want to contribute as much as I can, but DOE is where I think I can make an impact. So, at this time, I'm probably not going to run.
Let me ask you a totally unrelated question then, to anything else that we're talking about. The search for, and you worked with Robert Underwood for a long time when you were at the Endowment Foundation, another successful collaboration. And unfortunately, you've left that role. Uncle Robert's leaving the role of president of the University of Guam. And the search committee finds themselves in a really bad place. What are your thoughts on that these days?
I used to sit on the board of regents at the University of Guam. I sat on 2 presidential searches, and I also sat on a presidential search up at the Northern Marianas College. And, we use consultants and stuff like that. But I guess just the process, when we basically share with the community what the process is going to look like. And I'm pretty sure that they have some responses. Being the president of an academic institution is a very serious matter. I mean, these are the folks that are going to be leading, pretty much how our society, our community trains our workforce. And so I know Bill Leongo personally. Of course, I know that, he's very capable. I just think that, there's calls for having the process thrown out and started over again. I mean, that's a big task. There's 60 applicants, and it's good to know that there are people out there that are interested in working for university. But I don't know enough about how the process went this time around. But we did hire the AGB when we did the selection for, I believe it was Peter Lee's selection, and then on to Harold Allen's selection. Those are the 2 presidential searches I was involved in. And then when I was up in the Northern Marianas College, we used another consulting firm, but it was able to expand the pool. But I do know that there is a provision in the law that was very made clear about having knowledge about Guam and the region. So I'm not seeing any of the candidates' dossiers or the resumes, and I'm pretty sure when these folks come out here, some of them are going to be stepping into a hostile environment.
You think? Yeah, just start talking to the students because they're starting to become very active and looking for political action to take place over at the legislature. As I said, there's a petition. It wouldn't surprise me if you haven't seen it yet on Facebook. Mark, I'm going to run. I got the news coming up here in a second. Congratulations again on taking this issue to the next level with the federal government. I got my fingers crossed that everything is going to work out. I have my fingers crossed that you guys already actually know the outcome and just need to go through these steps. So I'm going to keep that suspicion in my head. I'll see you on the golf course.
Thank you, sir.
All right, buddy. Mark Mendiola from the Guam Department of Education Ed Board. My name is Ray Gibson. You're listening to 93.3 KUSG Hagutnya. This is The Point.
Dinner diplomacy. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo holding a working dinner this hour with the Vice Chairman of North Korea's Party Central Committee as they discuss next month's planned meeting between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. Fox's Steve Rappaport has more live.
Lisa, Kim Yong-chol is a power player in Pyongyang. Prior to his current role overseeing relations between the two Koreas, he served as the North's intelligence chief. Kim's visit to the U.S. is the latest in a flurry of moves to get the summit back on track. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders.
We are preparing and expect that to take place on June 12th, and we'll be ready if it does on June 12th, and if it's not, then we'll be ready if it takes place on July 12th.
President Trump last week abruptly canceled the meeting, but U.S. and North Korean negotiators are holding talks in the demilitarized zone. Lisa?
Steve, the White House pushing back after Chair of the House Oversight Committee Trey Gowdy says there's no evidence of spying during the campaign. Spokeswoman Sarah Sanders says there is still cause for concern, and they will continue to follow the issue. Disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein indicted by a grand jury on rape and criminal sex act charges. Fox's Michelle Polino has this live. She filed this report earlier.
Harvey Weinstein was indicted by a grand jury on rape and criminal sex act charges. This comes hours after Weinstein declined to testify before the grand jury because there wasn't enough time to prepare him and political pressure. Weinstein was charged Friday with rape and criminal sex act charges involving 2 women in New York. Dozens more women have accused him of sexual misconduct, ranging from harassment to assault in various locations. Weinstein's lawyer, Benjamin Braffman, called the rape allegation absurd, saying that the accuser and Weinstein had a decade-long consensual sexual relationship that continued after the alleged 2013 attack. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
Wall Street, the Dow up 306, the Nasdaq added 65 points, the S&P up 34. Fox News, fair and balanced.
In this divided world, there are still a few things that unite us. The thrill of an exciting championship game.
Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
The sound of great music.
The Grammy goes to...
And the love we have for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam presents to you For the Love of Burgers menu. For a limited time, we want you to put down that fork, tuck that napkin in your collar, and go for broke with an amazing burger for just $11.99. 8 burgers to try, and time is a-wasting. Ruby Tuesday Guam lunchtime. See you soon.
Morco Equipment, located on Ipoh Road, Tamuning, is a heavy equipment dealership and was established on Guam in 1990. Morco Equipment is now an employee-owned company. Morco represents 23 heavy equipment manufacturers and supports those products on Guam with sales, rental, parts, and service. The Morco Equipment rental fleet now comprises of 200 machines. Morco also offers an on-site diesel delivery service and Trashco Guam, a roll-off trash container service. If you're interested in joining the Morco ESOP ownership team, find out more on their website at morcoequipment.com.
A Russian journalist thought to have been killed in Ukraine is alive.
The Ukrainian Secret Service was holding that news conference for an update on the investigation. And then you heard gasps and applause from the journalists in attendance as Russian journalist Arkady Barbchenko was thought to be dead. He showed up alive. Investigators alleging a Ukrainian citizen was paid $40,000 by the Russian security service to carry out the killing of Barbchenko. His writing has been strongly critical of Vladimir Putin and Russian leadership, and there have been several mysterious murders of critical Russian journalists in recent years. Jim McKay, Fox News.
The National Hurricane Center says the remnants of Alberto is moving across west central Indiana with little changes expected in the next 36 hours. Melania Trump taking aim at the media for wondering why she's been out of the public eye for the past couple weeks.
The First Lady taking to Twitter to say, I see the media is working overtime, speculating where I am and what I'm doing. Rest assured, I'm here at the White House with my family, feeling great and working hard on behalf of children and the American people. The post comes following several reports and conspiracy theories making assumptions on why Mrs. Trump has kept a low profile after being released from a Maryland hospital to treat a benign kidney condition. Prior to her procedure, the First Lady announced Be Best, her first public initiative aimed at boosting the emotional, social, and physical health of children. I'm Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Days after the presidential pardon of boxer Jack Johnson, Sylvester Stallone has announced plans for a biopic on the first African-American heavyweight champion. Stallone has said Johnson was the basis for the character Apollo Creed in the Rocky films. President Trump pardoned Johnson posthumously last week. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
What would you do with unlimited internet? With Docomo Pacific, the possibilities are endless. Docomo Pacific is throwing off the data caps so you can enjoy more of the things you love. Watch, stream, download, and play with no end in sight. Stop by any of our stores or check out DocomoPacific.com to learn more. Life becomes limitless with Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Portions of the program. If it's not on Facebook, I can't see it. Portions of the program brought to you by my pals over at King's Restaurant. You know, I love talking about this because it's just another example of the way that they are so in touch, in tune with their customers. They have local lunch favorites Monday through Friday. Today is Thursday, and that means that today they're going to have meatloaf. But, you know, I talk about some of the other things that they serve. The beefsteak tomorrow and Salisbury steak and beef tinactac. You might want to try to use the pick 2 or pick 3 combos so that maybe you can mix and match and turn it into a unique lunch concoction. Huh? Try that out today at King's.
Are you a homeowner looking to save money on your power bill? Ever thought about getting solar on your roof? If the answer is yes, Micronesia Renewable Energy will install a solar energy system on your roof for zero money down, so you can save money on your power bill. Sign up in the month of May, and MRE will pay you $400 in cash. That's right. In the month of May, get a solar energy system on your roof, and MRE will pay you $400 just for signing up. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
Portions of the program also brought to you by my friends over at American President Lines. APL is shipping the future.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Beneventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumama. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
The Ray Gibson Show. News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. Turn it up. Now tell a friend.
There you go. A couple of notes here on the Facebook Live. I was talking about something I found over at the Island Fresh place. It's a box of Stouffer's. And I forget what they don't call it the same thing that we called it when I was growing up. Blank on a shingle, right? There's another kind of Stouffer's sanitized name that they call it. I couldn't tell you what it is.
But there's nothing better than breakfast after a six-pack night. Some SOS.
Chip beef with gravy.
Yeah.
I think that's the sanitized name. It's technically, yeah, that's exactly. Nobody knows what chip beef is. I didn't know what it was.
I'm used to having it with sausage, though. Make a sausage gravy. Throw it on some bread. Yeah.
Do they have that in the Stouffer's in the stove? Because here's the thing: I don't actually want to cook it because I remember my grandfather obsessing over the white gravy.
Yeah, you gotta make the gravy.
Yes,
yeah, and then you gotta make the sausage and then make the gravy in it. Yeah, I'll do that for you when you.
There's a lot of extra work. And I'm thinking, so at the Stouffer's thing, you can take it out of the freezer and you stick it in a microwave, and then 7 minutes later, you're eating SOS.
I can make it in 7 minutes.
Oh, you got the skills?
From scratch.
Oh, you're from Texas. What am I talking about? I'm sorry, I forgot. Everybody knows how to make it. All right, Sonia Siliang is there. Nick Perlowski says, yeah, that's what it is, Denise. We used to call it blank on a shingle, and we still do. My buddy Marcus Cruz is on. Wilton Acta, good to see you out there. He says, Hafa de Ray, nice to see and hear from you. How's the baseball these days? Carlo Branch is up and on. I see Ryan Matienzo. That's running phenomenon, Ryan Matienzo, one of the fastest men on Guam. Mike McCarthy checking in from Apollo Beach in Florida. Good to see you there, Sonny. And Melanie Mendiola's on. And Denise Legaspi, Lady D. My chicken lady's on. I see Yuka Hechanova Oyal from the governor's office is monitoring. She's looking to see if I'm saying anything bad about the administration. Not yet. I haven't said anything yet about the administration. Don't worry about it. Lady D, the point about a news story about, who's that guy? B.J. Cruz. Cruz, she says, always has a way to clip money from the people, but the money never goes where it's supposed to go. Denise, you are, according to some people, more right than you know on this. More right than you know. Uh-oh. Sonia wants to see my driver's license. I can't show you my driver's license, Sonia. I'd like to show you my driver's license, but I cannot show you my current driver's license. I was attempting to go to the Department of Revenue and Taxation so I could renew the driver's license, which has recently expired. And as I was making the turn to Rev and Tax, I noticed a small black kitten on the road. Just a little tiny mew, mew, black kitten on the road. And I said, no, I can't leave this little black kitten on the road. It's going to get run over by a Big Mac truck or something like that. So I picked up the black kitten and I rescued it. I cradled it in my arms and went to Vinny's and I bought some milk and I bought some salamis and I took it over to the post office and left it there in the hopes that another kind soul might be able to get, because we have dogs. Huh? That used to be my joke. It used to be my joke. Hey, let's get some for, because they used to have this Doberman, right? Pago was the dog's name. It was a beautiful chocolate red Doberman, smart as a whip. I mean, this is smarter than kids, this dog. And every once in a while we'd be out shopping, and my daughter would say, "Oh, let's go get something for Pago." I said, "Great, let's go get a cat." And she'd shoot me that look when I was like, "Dad, you got to be kidding! Come on, dog would love it. Play with it all day long." Where are we? 9:11 in the morning. And I was remarking about Denise Legaspi before something shiny took my attention. Cruz always has a way to clip money from people, but the money never goes where it's supposed to go. You are more right than you think. Here's what's going to happen, at least according to some, is that B.J. Cruz will be successful in garnering the support and aid of the Guam Visitors Bureau this time around, and they will support the idea that we will have to about double the passenger fee. Where is it now? $8.29, more than double. Go from $8.29 to $20, allowing the Customs and Quarantine Agency on Guam to double their manpower. And we'd use double the manpower, and then we're going to go and find all of the bad guys that are trying to import crystal methamphetamine and everything on Guam and sell it and do all of the heinous things that happen with it. And by the way, I'm all for capital punishment for meth dealers in this town. I tell you what, the more here's the point. Here's the thing that BJ's right on. Guam is drowning. Ice and cocaine are tearing this community apart. And that's why I'm asking travelers to pay a little bit more. With their help, we can finally fortify our borders and prevent drug-related crimes before they start. Guam can't be a visitor paradise for anyone if it's drowning in drug-related crime. I'm asking that we throw ourselves a lifeline, and in doing so, save this community from suffering and pain. I am with BJ on that point. I agree. You might not read the magistrate reports every day. I get them every day, and I almost get to a point where I want to stop reading them every day because it's the same stories. They're all the same stories. They're kids growing up in this town that unfortunately learned it from their parents and learned it from their aunts and uncles and a whole generation before them that got locked into this crap back in the 1990s, and now it's a way of life. Now the methamphetamine for many families is just a way of life. And so they're going to get pulled over by a cop, because they're on the phone, or their blinkers don't work, or whatever it is. They're going to get pulled over by the cops, and the cops is going to find an ice pipe. This is almost a daily magistrate recitation. So-and-so pulled over by the police on a traffic stop. And the policeman noticed that he was, sweaty and stuttering, and he was freaking out, and he was very nervous. And so the cop instigates a search of the vehicle, finds crystal methamphetamine, ice pipe, other paraphernalia, and then somebody is arrested. Unfortunately, they get arrested and then released. That's a big problem that we have around here. We need to figure out how we're going to hold on to these guys a little bit more. But I digressed again. So this is what's going to happen when we get about $1.8 million additional dollars in these passenger fees. Sorry, it's not 1.8. It's 1.8. What's the number? Tourists that will be paying the $20 a head, and that'll end up being something like $36 million, right? So it'll be another $36 million. And you know what's going to happen is these guys is Customs and Quarantine, which are tenants of the airport, are going to get the rent's going to get doubled. Watch and see. When there is more money floating around, Customs and Quarantine, it will be hard to use those dollars to fortify the island against drugs, because I guarantee that the rent is another cost will hit them, and the price will go up. 9:15, I'll return to that conversation in a little bit, maybe a couple of others, but I did want to make sure that I had an opportunity to spend some time on the phone with Arlene Santastefi.
Half a day, Ray. I hope you're not arresting me this morning.
No. Just a arresting conversation. How's that?
That's perfect. Thank you for arresting it.
I haven't seen you in a while. What you been up to?
You know, you and I don't see each other, but we always talk. And I want to say, before we go any further, my condolences again for the loss of your father. He was a wonderful man.
Oh, wonderful doesn't begin to pile on. You can pile on the accolades all day and still not get halfway to the kind of man my dad was.
I understand, and I mean, as a media guy, you know, we worked together at KUAM and known each other. And then you grew up and replaced him, and that's wonderful, right?
Well, I hope so. I've spent my life trying to make my mother and father proud of me.
I think we all do.
Oh, thank goodness. And
for you this morning.
Well, the reason you sent me a thing, and you got a book reading at the university this weekend. But the thing, never mind the book reading, you did another book.
No, actually, if you go from the basis of a book, it's my first children's book, and it's in the Chamorro language. You may be referencing the fact that Bob and I published
the Bible,
published the 1908 Chamorro. Thank you very much for recognizing that. We did one in 2003, and then that was the Chamorro only, and we published, I think it was 2,000 copies, and they were sold out in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Gone, flashed, nothing. We didn't reprint that one. We reprinted the actual 1908 Diaglot, which is English and Chamorro, and we red-lettered both of them, and we still have about, I want to say maybe 300 of the second publication.
Well, bring a few.
But that's a steady one. That one continues to go, and there are peaks and valleys on sales of all these products, but the Bible, for some reason, the Chamorro Bible is of greater interest away from Guam than it is on Guam.
And remember, there's a lot more Chamorros that are living off island than there are living here.
Actually, I was talking more about linguists and school. Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, I remember when it first came out. I knew a lot of people that bought it specifically because they knew the words in the Bible and they knew the chapters in the verse in the Bible, and all they needed to do was find the companion in Chamorro, and it was almost a one-for-one translation from one word to the next. So it would help them bone up on Chamorro.
And the reason that Bob and I, bless his heart, because he allowed me to use personal funds for both publications. But the reason that we did it for two reasons. One, I wanted to show that the Taitano family were instrumental, and the people of Guam were literate. They read. They could read in Chamorro and in English in 1908, and for me that was huge. The second reason was it pinpointed that Jehovah is God's name, and as a Jehovah's Witness, that was big, right? But the linguistic aspect cannot be lost, even if it's a 1908 publication. because it is not the orthography that makes the language, it's the words, right? And there are many words in the 1908 Chamorro Bible that have been that are not being used. So to reintroduce that publication, those words came back, and I use some of those words in my work. I purposely do, because it's like a dictionary for me. Like, you know, even my mother, when she read it, she goes, "Hey, I don't even know what that means." So it helps you to get language or get words that no longer are in use, which is the way the language is, but to reintroduce them to build the vocabulary going forward.
It's so important for young people who are struggling. And when I say young people, I'm going to put myself in this category. I was raised to speak English, and it was a very conscious decision in my household that I was going to speak English. And when I got older, then I could learn Chamorro. And everybody that would be in a position to teach me Chamorro now in the family is dead. So with that plan didn't work out quite as well as we thought it was supposed to. Grandma left a long time ago, and Daddy left in the 70s, so you know it's a question of who was left to teach me, and I knew all the swear words.
Yeah,
but that's the way.
You know what, Ray? You know, Ray, my parents were of that same generation as your grandparents and parents, and they used the Chamorro language as a secret language to discuss family issues with their mothers. There's a lot of land issues in our family. My mother's father was born in Palau. There was an inheritance there. My mother was born in Saipan. There was an inheritance there. And then, of course, my father here, right? So there was a lot of land issues on both sides of the family. So they would use the language to speak on those matters, not necessarily to keep it from us, but it was just so much easier to understand it for them. Now, it was at K57, Ray, where I started to speak Chamorro, and when I became a Jehovah's Witness in 82, because I had to speak at the door, right? And elders. And I noticed that there was a difference in how they would treat you when they speak Chamorro versus speaking English. So guess what I did? I taught myself.
Got to learn. Well, let's talk about a tool now that you're making available for the young people, so they don't necessarily have to struggle with that. Tell me about the book.
It's Chamorro Children's Books. Well, it was motivated. I mean, you know us. It's mass comm. So one medium to the next medium is a natural transition, right? But publishing a book and in Chamorro was not on the scene for me really quickly until 2016 Festback, when Rosa Palomo, who's a good friend of mine, said she was going to chair the workshop for Indigenous writers, and I went, "Whoa, Indigenous writers! I want to cover that."
Yeah.
And she goes, "Come down." And you know me, whenever there's something, I'm there with my camera, I'm documenting it. And at the end of this month's process of Saturdays, for 4 hours each Saturday, recording all these people's stories, she said to me, excuse me, she said to me, "I want a book from you." And I looked at her like, "What? I'm not here to document this. I'm not a participant." She said, I want a book from you. And it was not a joke. And so, you know me, it's like, the only challenge I have never, ever followed through with is running for office. It's just not my calling. That's not something I wanted to do. But when she said do it, I contemplated that for about 2 weeks. And then I thought, you know, I come from a family of storytellers. There are stories in Palau. There's a migration to Micronesia. There's the stories with Saipan, you know, the language, the whole thing. My mom spoke Chamorro Pidgin because the Japanese didn't want them to speak. I don't know why people on Guam didn't do that, but I thought that was so ingenious. And then, of course, over the years at K57 and everything else I've done, I followed a lot of cultural stories and documented them. So these are going to come out in the books, Ray. And I thought, why not, right? I am the leading oral history practitioner in the region. I've got all this story that belongs to people. Other people need to hear about them. So I started with World War II survivor mom, animal husbandry. Philip and I grew up, got married. Mom got lonely. She only had a 10-year-old Frank at home. And she built a ranch, animal ranch, out of all used materials. Mom was a huge recycler. You know, World War II survivors don't throw anything away.
That's
Mom
right.
was one of them.
Ever.
One of them.
Yep.
So she built her whole ranch, you know, with reused materials. My father was in the construction business at the time, and so everything that he put to the side, she used bamboo and made troughs for them so the chickens could drink. I thought it was so ingenious, but I hated going down there because it had duck poop all over the place and chicken poop, and she always wore boots, and I didn't have any. So I would only stand up on the top and say, Mom, how are you doing? You know, whatever. But she goes, come down here, and it's all in tomorrow, Ray. And I said, no, I don't want to go down there. There's stocky all over the place. But the story comes alive for me because now my grandchildren are in that story as if they were going through it, and that's how I'm communicating the stories to them.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Oh,
so I mean, it's slice of life. It's a real thing. So you don't have to make anything up here.
It's not. It's historical fiction in the sense that it's something that happened in the past. It's real life people experience. It's from oral history, but I'm using my grandchildren rather than me and my brothers. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
no, totally.
There's a fictional aspect to the historical framework, but the history is there. And then there are teaching elements, like, you know, a child who cannot read, like a kindergartner or pre-K, the person who's reading these books can bring it out because it's vibrant colors. And children are just attracted to large things and bright things. And so you could say this is a gaga, this is a marizu, right. This is pujitos, this is nganga, you know. So there are many elements, teaching elements in the book, which is what teaching is all about in reading.
Yeah, touch on that real. I mean, this is radio. It's Facebook Live, but I don't actually have any of the images in front of me, or otherwise I'd post them.
Are you asking me to give you a book?
No, but maybe the next time we do this, we'll plan it out a little bit more so that I've got some actual images that I can put on the Facebook Live so that people can see what we're talking about. So it's not just the words, the story. It's also the artwork that helps convey the story.
Absolutely, and that's what children's books are all about. Before I did this, I spent time with publishers and with other. I went to the children's books in the states that sell well, and I think that the reason that my grandchildren are readers. I'm a reader. You know that. I'm constantly reading. My grandchildren walk through the door. The first thing they do, Ray, is they beeline for their segment on the library. They have Bob buys them these National Geographic little booklets. They hold it. They take it everywhere. They wear these things down. And every time they come in, Gammy, can you read this to me? Well, I'm going to replace National Geographic with Tomorrow's Stories, Ray.
There's 1,000 of them. There's 1 million of them.
That's what I'm doing. So this is the first one, and now Gabriel goes, can you read my story? Isn't that great?
Yes, I love that. But it gives them now they are going to be of the opinion that they need to stack up stories in their lives because one of these days they might be able to author a story or tell the story to their kids. You know, my favorite thing is driving around with my daughter still to this day, and we'll pass by someplace and she'll say, "Dad, what was there before?" And I'll get to tell her the stories of what I remember from that place when I was a little boy growing up. And I love telling kids the story of when we used to go down to Epal Beach when we were kids, and you'd need a 4x4. We'd have to get a 4x4 from Allen Sec Motors to be able to get down to our favorite spots at Epal.
You see how many stories there are that haven't been told?
Just like that. Ding, ding, ding.
Just like that. Just like that. Everybody on this island who has lived here pre-war, war, after war, post-war, anytime in our generation. Let me ask you this question. The next book that's coming out is going to talk about the Papasaki. Do you remember what that is, Ray?
No.
Okay. Nobody else does either because our homes now are built with concrete platforms. There are no more Papasakis. And if there any exist, it probably exists down in Maleso.
Down south, yes. You're right. My grandmother's house in Agana was built on those.
Exactly. A papasagi is an area underneath the flooring of the home that they use for storage. Now, that's not to be confused with the one you crawl under because that just elevates it off the ground, and there's a reason for that. There's aeration, right? But a papasagi is an area where they literally stored all your implements for the garden or your mower or anything things that you don't use.
Yeah.
You know, extra plywood, extra tin from things like that.
Remind me off the air one of these to tell you a story about that was my hiding place. Well, my grandfather got really mad at me because I ruined his fishing rod. He got really mad at me. I wouldn't come out until I saw my father walking down the street because I knew I was in trouble, and the only one that could get me out of trouble was my old man. But you're right. I think there's great vehicles for stories, and we'll bring people back to a certain time where we built houses off the ground.
Okay, now my children saw these things, and living with me, they've either seen it or they've heard it, so it's not new to them. But my grandchildren, that's a totally different generation. This is lost. My grandchildren are going to learn, and your grandchildren are going to learn, because they're going to read these books, and it's going to be them in those books. So the generation is coming forward of things that happened in the past. That's storytelling, Ray.
It's the way it's supposed to be. The way it's supposed to be. So let me sell some tickets and see if we can do some sales on the books. You're going to be doing a reading and maybe book signing this weekend?
It's Saturday from 3 to 6 o'clock at the lecture hall at the University of Guam, and we want people to bring their children because it's a children's book, and we're going to do a public reading. We're going to put the book up on the screen. I'm going to read a few words. I'm going to have the kids respond, actually the audience. So we'd like to pack it if we can. Of course, that's ideal, but we want participatory audience, and children are excitable, and we want the whole thing to be an exciting event. Now, I'm willing to give Ray Gibson a few books to give away if they could answer a few questions. Would you like to do that?
Yeah, bring it by.
Okay, let's work something out, and they can do it next week.
Got it.
Thank
Perfect. Absolutely. No, thanks for the time. I know how busy you are these days, and I've got all the plans and everything to put together, but it's always a delight to get you on the radio, always a delight for the listeners to hear you on the radio.
And thank you for always being interesting and supporting the work. I appreciate it very much.
I believe, you're welcome. I believe wholeheartedly that every single one of us has a story inside. And we get bogged down, and maybe it's personal. Maybe it's a personal story. Maybe some what is it? Arlene called it historical fiction. Maybe there's things that you know about your life that you'd like to kind of write down, but don't want anybody to feel guilty about anything. So we'll change all of the names, and instead of being Ray Gibson, all the names have been changed to protect the innocent. Michael Knight did this in his morning show on The Point. that's how we'll do that. Man, there's some fun stuff that you can get into. I would recommend, if you're even halfway interested in it, everything is on the cloud. Everything is in computers, right? See if you can download some authoring software. I've done this. I'm not going to say that I've got a book that's ready to go to print because I don't. But I oftentimes will flesh out an idea for something that is in the very least comic book worthy. And I'll flesh out the idea, and sometimes I'll put some meat on those bones, and there's a few spaces where the meat on the bones is kind of sparse, but I think they're interesting stories, and they're fun for me to read. So if you've got an interesting story, you want to lead on one? Magellan's Sword.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What you know something about that?
Well, you know why he got killed in the Philippines, right?
Yeah.
Because his sword got stolen here.
Yeah. Oh.
Right? So that's how we got the name Ladrones.
Okay.
From the Spaniards. It was the first of the big insults.
That's right, yeah.
So now that's the beginning of the fiction. Was that the only fact there is that Magellan was killed in the Philippines, right? There's the fact, and so I've already embellished it, right? I've already got the embellishment in there because he didn't have his sword, and it was a beautiful sword. Right? Targaryen steel. with a gold hilt.
Nice.
And so it has been lost in history, right? No. There's people that know where it is. Yeah. Who wields the sword of Magellan? Who on Guam wields the sword of Magellan? Don't say Champ Calvo. Don't say champ. But wouldn't that make kind of an interesting story of how this sword has come and gone and been hidden in families and churches and whatever from 1521 to the present?
That'd be nice.
Wouldn't it be? Would make a fun story if somebody wants to put some meat on that bones and have a plot and create a villain, you know, the beginning, middle, and end. Think about that if you don't mind. 9:33 in the morning, and we've talked our way right up to iConnect time. iConnect has got this incredible push-to-talk and mobile plans that you can connect longer. iConnect time is 9:33.
With the largest inventory of rental equipment on Guam, East West Rental Center is sure to have the tool you need to get your job finished quickly. From equipment rental, party rental, parts and service to used equipment, East West Rental Center has what you need. Call East West Rental Center at 646-1463 or visit them online and browse through their online rental catalog at eastwestrental.com. They're located in Upper Tumon, right across St. John's School. East West Rental Center, providing the island of Guam with quality equipment rentals since 1972.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
I hear it all the time. My boss is this, or my boss is that. People complaining about their managers. I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, we'll take a closer look at that.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
Circle K has just made it easier to select products that are better for you and your healthier lifestyle. When looking for items that are low carb, low sodium, low calories, low sugar, high in antioxidants, or high in protein, just look for the easy to spot better for you labels so you can find these items at a glance. Come by and see for yourself. It has never been more convenient to fill up on anything and everything that are better for you. Circle K. Take it easy.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
This is The Point. As in The Point radio station, my name is Ray Gibson. I do the morning show here, and people call me up, sing in, and they go, "Hey, Ray, who does the afternoon show on this station?" There is no afternoon show here. This Rush Limbaugh does the afternoon show here until about 4 o'clock, and then Sean Hannity does the show as well. And everybody go, "Oh, you should get somebody to do talk radio in the afternoon." And I said, "Well, they have to be at least as good as Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh." And every once in a while, somebody says, "Well, there's maybe a name or two that'll pop up that'll be interesting." That's all right. That's okay. In the meantime, it's still important to have a morning show so we can talk about the news and the sports, or at least pretend to talk about the sports and the weather and all of that. And so I say that because I also recognize that there are afternoon talk shows in this town. And what do we got? Janella wrote a story on the PNC. Rodriguez backs Torres' claim that Antelope tipped him off about the raid. Guam Democrat gubernatorial candidate Senator Dennis Rodriguez is confirming his former campaign's manager's claim that Antelope knew about the raid at the campaign manager's residence before it even happened. Senator Rodriguez's earth-shaking confession came this afternoon with host Philly and Guerrero on K57. The interview stems from a controversial raid on Troy Torres' home last month, resulting in his arrest on drug charges that were later dropped, which led to the State of the Troy addresses that took place about every 48 hours since. According to Rodriguez, he received a phone call from, quote, the highest levels of Antelope, informing him that his campaign manager's home was about to be raided. The quote is this: "Yes, that is true. There was a call made to me from the highest levels from Antelope, one of the highest levels there before Troy's home was raided, when he was being questioned and when he was going to be arrested." And that's a fact. This is the type of games and corruption that our people are not wanting to have anymore, and for them to continually lie about this is wrong. But this is beginning to get typical, isn't it? At the end of the Janela story, says just who contacted Rodriguez about the raid remains a mystery. However, Senator Rodriguez would not reveal who the mystery caller was, saying only that this individual comes from the highest levels of Adelup. Bull. Let me just, look, I'm tired of unnamed sources. I'm the only one that's allowed to use unnamed sources, right? I try to have a little bit of journalistic credibility around here, and I hope that you trust that if somebody tells me something that is only in the realm of rumor, only in the ethereal world of maybe, what if, that you trust me to be able to extend the conversation, have the conversation, and maybe do it without the necessity of identifying every single person that tells me every little thing. Just to go, Ray Gibson's never steered me wrong. I trust him. He's never lied. That's all you need to know, right? Elected politicians in a political season, not so much. Look, I have been just as critical of the administration as anybody else. But the idea that there is now another unnamed source in another Rodriguez story is it's beginning to get baffling. You remember, it was a couple of weeks ago. Who's the guy that J.D. Tuncap talked to? There's names that have been floated around. Tom Todgy's name come up, and immediately a conflict between him and people that he works with. And have you noticed that there is still, at this point, there is still no verified, independently verifiable name associated with all of this? And so we're doubling down now on the unnamed sources. Now it comes down to the unnamed source high up in the world of Adelup, way up there in the clouds of Camelot, that took the time to call Dennis Rodriguez to let him know that his then campaign manager, or was he then the campaign manager? Was he not the campaign? It's still fuzzy in my head.
Are we talking about the dude with the flag and the latte stone?
Troy. No, I don't know. But anyway, so now comes this, now another unnamed person over at the, if you want me to believe you, there's no reason why in this heated political climate you can't say who it was. And just let the chips fall where they may. This does not bode well for your credibility, Senator. And I'm just saying, if you want me to believe you, if you want me to not look the other way on that story, then you got to tell me the name of this so-called highfalutin person over at the governor's office that was dropping a dime and letting you know that. And then what did you do with the information? Then what did you do with the information? Did you call Troy? I would have called, dude. I just got word that they're gonna raid your house. So whatever you got, flush it down, Brown. Oh no, you can't do that. That would have been what is it? Interfering with a criminal investigation. Wait, but he wasn't charged. I'm all messed up now. I'm all messed up. This story gets weirder and weirder. Highest levels of Adelup, Ismail says. Sounds like a video game. How many levels are there in Adelup? I told you what that was. I told you what that was. That was, it's in the staff assistants. Because they have cheap staff assistants there. They have the run-of-the-mill $27,000 staff assistants over at the governor's office, and then they have staff assistants that go all the way up to $50,000 a year with benefits.
Man,
they have staff assistants that go up to $60,000 a year.
I would get lunch, breakfast, beer, and all kinds of stuff for $60,000.
I'm just saying, $50,000 a year, my friend. You deserve a bigger title than staff assistant.
A staff overlord?
Staff assistant 1, maybe.
Oh, there you go. Put a number. Yeah, a Roman numeral.
Yeah. Something like that. The supervisory staff assistant. Nice. We'll come up with something that the civil service will bless and everybody will be happy. I'm just saying. I'm not believing a word of this. It all sounds ridiculous. And maybe that's another reason why you don't need to have somebody working an afternoon drive program here. Just a platform for lies. 9:42 in the morning, The Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be anymore. And oddly enough, not that I was trying to make a connection, Not that I was trying to make a connection, but I got Peter Alexis Addo on the line. And it's funny, they just told the producer, he said he'll talk, but wants to know what the subject is. It's all right. You know what, Peter, you know me long enough to know that I don't play gotcha when we're talking.
I know you. Yes, I do. Very much, without a doubt.
Yeah. So what I wanted to know about was, frankly, some of the things that you're doing at the Department of Youth Affairs. In particular, you will remember that this used to be kind of an opportunity for young people in the summer to get kind of a first job. They'd have these little 90-day openings for youth employment in the government, and they'd start off over at DYA, and then they'd go and clear off some land over here, Zabao on the side of the road, and whichever mayor needed the extra work. Do we still do that anymore?
And you know, I'm very happy that you asked that question, because just yesterday I was during my public hearing for my budget. I did ask the legislature if they would consider so that we can recoup or bring back the summer employment program. That really would deter a lot of the kids from being mischief. Many of the kids have always said, well, Mom and Dad are gone, they're going to work, and we're unsupervised, and we're free like a bird. So they do anything and everything.
Yeah, that's always scary. It used to be back in the olden days, you didn't have to worry too much about that because everybody knew everybody in the villages, but the population is so much higher, so many new people and so many new faces and so many new languages that are out there.
Yeah.
And maybe we need to kind of go back to basics, give these kids something to do.
Yeah, let me, Ray, one of the things that we have been discussing here in recent times is so that we can give as much coverage. So we're going to make sure that we get one child from the home setting. So, you know, we don't have 2 or 3. Well, there's only one from that home, so that everybody will have an equal share. We hope to be able to have about 300. That's what we're looking at, 300 kids for the coming school summer. But I'm hoping that the legislature will be able to fund it.
Well, how much do we need to pay them? Do we have to do actually minimum wage?
Yes.
But we gotta find another way to do this. So we'll get you a few dollars. I don't want to say it's the whole minimum wage thing. Because I want them to know that they're going to be getting something back from this. I mean, it's some training, some OJT, if you will. Now, I'm not saying that these guys, it's all they're going to do for the rest of their lives is clear land or take care of the mess on the side of the road, or whatever it is that the mayor wants them to do. But we will teach them a little bit about the work ethic that their parents and grandparents needed to learn when they were kids. Show up to work every day, learn how to deal with supervision, and learn how to supervise in some cases.
I follow, but the law is the law. Minimum wage.
No, it's we'll figure it out. Gotta be a way to look. They managed to take was it $500,000 out of the Chamorro Land Trust Commission, and those were funds that weren't supposed to be commingled. So we don't always follow the law if we don't want to.
Well, I just don't want to ever be told later on down the line, if we were to pay less than minimum wage, to be told you broke the law, you got to pay these kids this particular round.
Yeah.
So we're going to make sure we follow the to the letter.
All right. Well, I'm just saying that not all of the directors and the Guam agencies are following the law, and I don't know why you have to be the only one that does.
Because I don't want to go to jail.
Okay, there you go. But I'm just playing around. So that was the actual question. I'm delighted that you guys had the hearing yesterday. And just when I saw DYA, and looking at the calendar, I'm thinking there's got to be something that some of these young people can do, because I'm starting to see a lot of that as I'm driving around here. Is you get these kids 14, 15, 16 don't look like they have any plans for the day other than to skateboard around the village and steal mangoes.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Ray? There was something that came out of the legislature, and I'm very proud to let the people of Guam know. As of 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon, I would like for you to ask me how many clients do we have confined in DYA.
Oh, all right, I will. As of yesterday, how many clients do you have locked up in the DYA?
20. That's all.
That's all?
That's all.
Hey, tell me you guys are holding. No, he's too old for that.
It used to be as high as 120. Then it goes down to 90, back to 110, 120. But with the intervention of the Juvenile Justice Program and the assistance of the Attorney General's office, we were able to release some of these kids. Since I came on board as deputy in 2016, I have met 376 kids who were discharged out of here from that time. Of the 376, only 58 have come back for a second offense unrelated to the first offense. Most of the kids that are here are because they broke their probation rules that was given to them upon release. So they're in here and what is called, do a little timeout and let's get you back in proper perspective. But I'm very happy. The numbers are very, very low.
Well, I'm delighted to hear that, and I hope that people are beginning. I hope against hope, frankly, that people will begin to renewed respect for the law. Renewed self-respect, self-control, self-discipline. Because I tell you what, you and I read the same headlines. You've been on the radio before, and you know what it's like. You get all these people, and there's a story today about this guy that went and beat up his sister and set fire to his brother-in-law's backhoe, and come to find out he's on a pretrial release on allegations of criminal sexual conduct on an 8-year-old.
Yes.
And I'm going, why the hell was this guy even out of jail?
That's right. That's right.
We should have had him under some kind of lock and key, and we don't. We get guys and they get in trouble and they go and they get booked and released. And I'm going, don't release this guy. He's a danger to himself and society. If you're going to release him, let's make it so that he's got a bracelet on his leg or an anklet, and we'll know when he leaves his apartment. And we'll know if he says, I'm going to church, that he didn't really go to church. He went to the game room or he went to the bar. We don't do that here, and we should.
That's right. Yes, very much so.
What kind of problem? What kind of issues are your kids getting into there? Because it used to be DUI when I was a little boy. It was always a lot of beyond control, smoking marijuana, drinking night train.
I'll give you a scenario. You have a 12-year-old kid who comes in here, and because of let's say he ran away for a whole week.
Yeah.
And the question that always in my mind is, why did it take your parents this long to report you, let's say, several weeks later? So the kid is brought in here, and he did not appear in court as he is required, so the marshals went after him for not appearing in it. And when the kid was brought in, I asked him, why didn't you go to court? My mom said she has to go to work and nobody else to take me. In my opinion, it's not this kid's fault. That's a parental problem. That mother or father should make every effort to make sure that he brings that child to his probation or his court hearing.
In the scenario that you're discussing, just real quick, in the scenario that you're discussing, is it also possible that the mother or father in this house also has a deep relationship with the criminal justice system?
In some cases, yeah. In some cases,
yeah,
there are those. But at the same token, I always say to this kid, you know what? We really got the wrong person in jail. It should be really your parents.
I agree with you. I agree. Yeah. And our big problem here is that the government has taken away so many of the things that we used to do as parents, the things that parents did to us when we were kids, that provided us the discipline and the respect for the law and a yearning for justice, if you will. We're not allowed to do that anymore. Otherwise, the kid's going to call child services on us.
Yes. In my testimony yesterday, I did ask the legislature to approve for me to hire parental
counselors.
What is it? A coordinator to guide parents on parenting skills.
Good plan. Hey,
we
Peter.
found this out that the kids are saying the problem is at home. There is no discipline at home.
Oh, it's what happens when mom and dad are working 2 jobs apiece. Listen, I gotta run. It's always a delight talking to you. We'll get together again soon.
It's a pleasure talking to you, and I wanted to let you know I really miss you on the morning show. But by the way, what station are you in?
Some people didn't get to Facebook, right? 93.3 The Point, and I'll send you a link to this conversation later so that you can listen to it and watch my reactions as you speak. All right.
All right, most certainly. Hey, thanks a lot, and God bless you.
Peter Alexis Ada on the program. 888-8255. On the way back, let me just take a quick break, and I'll figure out how we're going to end the program.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,500 by calling Family Finance in Hagåtña at 475-4545, Upper Tuon 647-5626, or in Dededo 633-4473. Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you. Just some days I cannot get comfortable in my skin, and today is one of those days. Maybe it's the conversation about the unnamed sources and the two-faced nature of the conversation where you say, oh, it's tired of corruption. We need to battle corruption here, and these unnamed sources told me this, told me that. You know what? If you want to break the circle of corruption, identify who said what high level over at Antelope. Huh? That's what we got to know.
Yeah, because the fact is...
That's what Andre says. He says, something stinks. Why talk about corruption but not reveal the name? In doing so and not revealing the name, he's aiding corruption.
Secrecy is one of the first tactics in corruption. You don't tell anybody what you're up to. Thus, it's corrupt.
I'll tell you whatever you want to know. I tell you whatever. I'll tell you what you want to know. Half of what I'm telling you is a lie. You just get to fake. It's like every once in a while. We were doing some construction around here, and a bunch of my Pinoy brothers are having a side conversation, and one of them piped in and said, "Oh no, we shouldn't talk amongst ourselves in Tagalog because Boss Ray is here." And I said, "No, it's okay. I'm born and raised on Guam. Been around dated Filipinas, and here's the thing: is I can actually understand half of what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Oh, really? Which half?" I'll never tell you.
I won't tell
you. You will never, ever know which half of the conversation I actually pay attention to. I was going to give the phone number, but there's only a couple of minutes left in the program. This is the way I'm going to end the show. I tried not to gloat too much. Did I, with the Doris thing? I only talked about it for 2 hours this morning. That's not like full-blown gloating.
Okay. We could have done the whole show. I mean, come on.
Yeah, still.
We got 3 minutes
Find
left.
Madeline. Fine. Yeah, I'm looking at the statements from them. There's these pained statements from Mike and Madeline. Oh, great. Doris has joined the race. How fun is that? Wonderful. Yeah. You just got to feel bad for Mike. It was an uphill battle to begin with, right? And now Doris is in the race. So anyway, they couldn't do that. I got another handle on a rumor, and the rumor is, who's the guy? Doug Moylan is running for the Attorney General's office. I received a few minutes ago a telephone call offline from former Attorney General Doug Moylan, who says basically he can neither confirm nor deny. But he appreciates my conversation. He appreciates my support. Doug's always been a good friend. And you know what the best thing about Doug Moylan is? Never mind the fact that we will not have to prep for a show. Just whatever Doug Moylan says, that's the show for the next day. But he is also a massive Star Trek fan.
Oh, nice.
He
Very
is.
good.
He is
Another one.
He is a massive Star Trek. He knows it, loves it, lives it.
Sweet.
And so there's always something else that we can talk about. And the other thing is that if he disagrees with me, and sometimes we have disagreed deeply on many topics, he's not afraid to jump in and say, "Who's the lawyer? Who's the lawyer? Who went to school for this? Huh? Okay, right.
I hate when that happens.
You keep talking, but I'm the one with the sheepskin. I'm the one that passed the bar. All right, I got you. So neither confirm nor deny. There's still time for him to make a decision and drop off said paperwork over at the Election Commission. So it might be one of those things where we will not know that it's moving in that direction until he actually drops off his petitions and financial reports and all of those things over at the Guam Election Commission. And he won't have to do that for another month. So if you see him, if you're out and about and he runs up to you, you tell him that we're looking forward to another 4 years of Doug Moylan and Eric the Eagle, would you? There's the music in the background. I guess that means I'm done for the day. You know, we're usually pretty good about getting the folks that we want to get into the conversation on the air. The only caveat on that today is we weren't able to find Doreen Therese Chrysostomo. And you're going, where do I know that name from? Where's that name from? Doreen ran against Doris Brooks in the last election. You remember? I do. I remember a long conversation with her over at one of those barbecue things down at the 4th of July in Tumon. And so I'm wondering, now that Doris is walking away from that gig, is she going to toss her hat in the ring? Going to be an exciting election year, don't you think? And we'll take you through every step of the way right here on KUSG Hagåtña. This is 93.3 The Point. My name is Ray Gibson for Kevin Kerrigan and Michael Knight. Thanks so much for listening. Catch you tomorrow.
Talks over dinner. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The nation's top diplomat sitting down with a top North Korean official as preparations begin for next month's planned summit between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. Fox's Steve Rappaport has more live.
Lisa, Kim Yong-chol is the highest-ranking North Korean official to set foot in the U.S. in nearly 20 years. The visit indicating just how serious both sides